Hello everybody and welcome back to the British Pokemon League Show. I am your host, Matt Starr, and it's been a while, huh? It's been a little hot minute. It's like last year since I saw all of you guys. It feels like such a long time ago. But we are here for one special reason and one special reason only. It is of course, I'll just turn the music down just a second. It is of course time for Season 3 playoffs. Everything from Season 3 has all led up to this moment. We have 8 teams, our top 8 from the British Pokemon League, all vying for that crown that Aaron T. Marshall currently holds from Season 2. And it's going to be an absolute doozy. Like, this is going to be one of the closest playoffs I think that we've had for a long time. It's been a super competitive and close season. We'll show you the league table in just a second to show you that second down to 8th for sure was definitely very, very competitive. Let's take a look at said league tables. As you can see there, Inglorious Surfers taking the regular season crown once again, going 10-1 through the regular season, only losing out to the Ninjas during regular season. So definitely the ones to beat going into this playoffs. But from there, it gets very, very close. Space City PC and South Croydon Swords occupying second and third place, so second and third seed going into playoffs. Closely followed behind by Wobbuffet Ninjas, Long Island Gummies, Newcastle Thunderers, Swindon Rookies, and Shadow Kings. Thunderers, Swindon, Shadow Kings, all on a 5-6 record. Shadow Kings and Tyrant Titans for that final 8th spot in playoffs, divided by just alphabetical order. That's how close it was down at the bottom there. That's just how competitive it was for those final couple of slots into playoffs. So of course, those bottom 4 teams, Tyrant Artiran, Scuba Squirtles, California Bastions, and Nice Sidonia, have been relegated and will be playing in our brand new British Pokemon League Championship going into season number 4. We'll have some more details on that in the coming weeks, of course, and we'll let you know how that's going to work with a little preview video coming very, very soon. But as you can see, those top 8 are our players participants, and let's take a quick look at the playoffs bracket. So as you can see there, we are doing it in a sort of reverse order. So first versus 8th, second versus 7th, third versus 6th, yada yada yada, 4th versus 5th. So Inglorious Surfers will be taking on Shadow Kings in the first round 1 match. Then it is Memes Space City PC taking on Draco Swindon Rookies. South Croydon Swords taking on Newcastle Thunderous. Obviously, Crizzle going to be wanting a little bit of revenge after Dave beat him once again earlier on the season. And finally, at the bottom there, Wobbuffet Ninjas taking on Long Island Gummies. The Gummies still yet to beat Matt Starr and his Ninjas through the entirety of the British Pokemon League. So it's going to be very, very, very interesting to see how that one goes down. Are the Ninjas going to get another win away from Silly, or is he going to finally break that duck? We will see what happens. But without further ado, let's get straight into the action. We're not going to waste any time, guys. We've got a lot of matches to get through. We're going to get right into all the spicy stuff. It is a run 1 matchup between Inglorious Surfers and Shadow Kings. So Surfers do hold the head-to-head record over Shadow Kings. Obviously, both teams have been here since Season 1 Originals. And as you can see from the season records there, Aaron with a much more substantial season record there, as I said, only losing out the once. Dogsy just scraping in with that Week 11 win over the Wobbuffet Ninjas. And you may notice a few changes as well to the teams. Of course, as always with playoffs, teams are allowed to make the one singular change to their team going into playoffs. And Shadow Kings have dropped the Darkrai to pick up the Indeedee female from the relegated Scuba Squirtles. And Aaron has dropped something and picked up the Scyther. I don't remember what he dropped, but he has picked up the Scyther. And the Scyther, you might think, wow, why has he not picked up the Scizor? The Scyther is one hell of a spicy pick. I know it deals pretty well into a lot of. It was Frosmoth. I was going to say Frosmoth, and I doubted myself for just a hot second. So 2 bug types, it's almost the same. That the Scyther is going to deal really well into that Indeedee, and of course things like the Greninja as well. It is very, very speedy, fast Pokemon. So and with a Focus Sash gives Aaron a lot of good options in that case. But, go through the rest of Aaron's team. Aaron has built a very, very strong, well-rounded team, headed up by that Zacian Crown, with that Intrepid Sword ability giving it that 1.5 times attack. Essentially, Aaron can just let this thing get set up with Substitute and just sort of play around it with whatever's next to it. You can set up the Rain with Polypa just to sort of nullify that Sun, any fire attacks, and change the weather if Sun is potentially set up. We do know, of course, the Illumies does like to run the sunny day to let that Camerupt run ragged. We saw against the Wobbuffet Ninjas in that final week just how sort of lethal the Geo Oranguru and the Camerupt can be. Camerupt with those eruptions, get those AoE attacks going to be really, really strong here, and something Aaron is going to have to take care of because Aaron does have a lot of wide guard options in that team. The Palipa, the Hitmontop, and Mega Aerodactyls were all running that wide guard move. So definitely a lot for Dogsy to think about as well. You know, Dogsy is gonna, I would think, gonna try and look to bring that Mega Kangaskhan to try and get a fake off early on the Zacian and maybe force Aaron and having to protect that thing early doors. But of course, you know, Dogsy needs to be careful if that NDD female is coming onto this. Coming onto the field, doesn't want to end up doing himself over with that Psychic Terrain. We've seen that happen plenty of times. Not so much with Dogsy, but a lot of times here in the British Pokemon League. Psychic Terrain and Terrain in general is just the bugbear of most players. And Showdown in general. Usually there's just so much happening on the Showdown screen, you can't tell what's going on, but definitely something to be careful of there. Some things like the Marshadow, and as I said, the Zacian here I think could be really, really good. The Marshadow not only is a good option into things like the Necrozma, gets a couple of access to a wide moveset that's going to deal with it pretty well into things like a DD and things like that, but of course is fighting type as well, so it's going to be pretty good into that Mega Kangaskhan as well. Is something to be watchful for. Something that Aaron needs to take into account as well as Gastrodon does like to sit pretty next to that Camerupt if Dogsy is to get Trick Room up. So, you know, if the Ludicolo and the Palipa do come out of play, you need to be careful not to proc any Storm Drains. Of course, Ludicolo does deal pretty handily with that Gastrodon, and Gastrodon having that 4 times Grass Sweetness. So, very difficult to predict how either team will set up. I would think that both teams are going to try and bring something a bit unexpected. For sure, you know, we've seen Aaron running the dog most way through the season, so he may elect to drop it for this game just to try and throw Dogsy off his guard. You know, I think a lot of people will openly admit that they hard prep for the Zacian Crown when they are facing Aaron. So, you know, it may look to sort of play a bit of trickery there and get in people's heads by not bringing it, but, you know, I think it is also one of his better options in this matchup. But anyway, guys, I'm going to stop my rambling. Let's get right into this one. It is the Shadow Kings taking on Inglorious Surfers, and as you can see there is no Sword Dog. It is the Hitmontop, Mega Aerodactyl, Palipa, Psyda, Ludicolo, and Regidrago, and Dogsy leading around with the Loomies, and DD has got the Gastrodon, Ditto, Necrozma, and the Oranguru in the back, so no Camerupt either, quite interestingly. Looks to have brought a bit of a sort of varying set, you know, there is Tailwind options on that Loomies, but also has Trick Room for the Oranguru as well, but this is quite a scary sort of matchup to come up against. These are both AoE attackers, the Regidrago with, of course, that Dragon Energy. Mega Aerodactyl has access to things like Earthquake and Rock Slide. You know, not only going to give super effective damage against the Illumies, but there is a sort of chance of flinches on the side of that NDD. Aerodactyl might go in for that wide guard, just trying to stop that expanding force. Tailwind comes out, there's the Psychic into the Regidrago. Regidrago comes out with a Substitute then, so seeing that he may be slower than that indeed, he's not trying to go for non-dragon energies and not do as much. Yes, I can turn down the volume of the game. There you go. Yeah, so that gets the substitute off, so it's taking a big chunk of damage there, but you know, which is going to stop it from dragon energing for sure. But Dogsy's now going to be careful and try and play around that, try and predict those wide guards. Is Aaron going to just keep sort of spamming that wide guard, or is he going to leave it open and you know, allow Dogsy to go for that attack? That's both going to try and getting into each other's heads. We will certainly see. The Tailwind is up for Dogsy and the Shadow Kings, which is good to know. So it's some good information there for Aaron as well. Early doors knows one of the moves on that Indeedee as well, so good move choices there by Dogsy as well. You know, the typical set for Indeedee is something like the spread attacks, the expanding force, you know, your dazzling gleams, mystical fire sort of thing, follow me. Goes with the psychic as well, just seeing that Aaron may be favouring the wide guards. Regidrago is sitting pretty behind that substitute, but very, very interesting that there's no dog. You know, we usually see Aaron running the Zacian with the substitute instead, but this time has chosen to put it on the Regidrago, pinning all of his hopes on the big dragon boy. There is the Struggle Bug, so it's going to drop the special attack on the Regidrago, and of course the Mega Aerodactyl, not going to drop the special attack there. Of course the substitute, but it does break substitute. Dracometeor does miss though, more importantly. Tailwind goes up from that Mega Aerodactyl as well, so this is going to be awfully close to both sides with the speed control up now. One more turn of Tailwind up for Aaron, which could be quite important in this late game as we move on into turn number 3. Illumi's does choose switch out as in comes, and the Crossbow Protect comes out from that Registrator. Got dual wing beat comes out, seeing that there might be a dual wing beat coming his way, so a good switch out there from Dogsy. And there's the Expanding Force, gets some really good damage away to the Mega Aerodactyl. And the Crossbow does take a big sort of chunk of damage for its troubles from that dual wing beat, but good read there from Dogsy. And very brave stuff as well, you know, could have easily been a wide guard coming his way and would have stopped the Expanding Force completely. But there is the Rock Slide from Mega Aerodactyl. There's that AoE damage we talked about. Draco Meteor does hit this time, and the Necrozma goes down, and it is first blood to Aaron T. Marshall. There is the Psychic from Ndidi, and it is a kill traded away, so it is 3v3. Good start from both players here. One more turn of Tailwind up for Aaron's. In comes the Scyther then, so this is not going to be good for Dogsy because that Ndidi, if it is Sash, has had its Sash broken, so you know, one U-turn or an X scissor from that Scyther is going to do some big hits as Lumi switches back in. Aaron's very aware of the Struggle Bug and Tailwind capabilities of this one, and Lumi's is surprisingly bulky, you know, it's only a tiny little bug, and the dual wing beat misses as well. The RNG just not going Aaron's way. Bug Bite comes out, so he does get a kill away, at least to make it a 2v3, but no dual wing beat hitting, and now in comes the Ditto, and it copies the Mega Aerodactyl then, so this could be huge. You know, now Dogsy's going to be fully aware of the moveset on that Mega Aerodactyl, so it's good information apart from anything, but this could be something that, you know, enables him to win the game. You know, a Rock Slide here, if he's able to hit them both, could be really huge, and is going to need to hope that the RNG goes his way again to try and keep that Illumis alive. It's just going to be a case of who's faster, because the Tailwind is up for Dogsy, so he's going to have that speed control. So much flying going on, I can just see wings flapping away on the screen right now. So has at least been able to bring the Ditto in and copy something that hasn't had significant stat drops. That is sometimes the risk with Ditto. If you bring it too late into a game and it's one of your last two ones and you're only able to copy something that's, you know, not going to be a benefit of you as a dual wing beat does come out from that Ditto, takes out the side, then there's the Struggle Bug into the Mega Aerodactyl. So the dual wing beat does hit this time. It procs the Cobra, but he says some information. Lumi's just about hanging on there to the second dual wing beat attackers. Now in comes the Ludicolo then. Two more turns of Tailwind on Dogsy's side. This could be quite a close one, because Ludicolo is going to have that type advantage over that Ditto. Of course, copied that Mega Aerodactyl. So Dogsy's got to play this one carefully here. Maybe got to go for the flinches, you know, those rock slides. Lumis might have to go down the Struggle Bug route just to try and... There's the fake out from the Ludicolo. I was just about to say the fake out could be coming. The Struggle Bug does come from Illumi, so it's going to drop the special attack on the Ludicolo a little bit. Rock Slide comes out from the Mega Aerodactyl, and that gets some really good damage away to the Ditto, and this could be game one to the Surfers. That's a really big hit. That fake out proving so huge. And now Dogsy is in one hell of a position, has got to go for his own Rock Slide and hope that they both hit and gets the flinch on the Ludicolo. Aaron is going to take this first one. The Rock Slide misses the Mega Aerodactyl though, and there's the dual wing beat from Aaron to finish it off. And the Surfers take this game number one, an advantage to Aaron as he moves straight on into game number two then. So we're going to see Dogsy try and switch things up a little bit with his players. He does lead with the Oranguru and Ndidi. And Aaron's switching things up as well, leads with the Mega Aerodactyl again, but has brought the Scyther this time, predicting that Dogsy would go with that Ndidi, and of course, you know, his positioned pretty well against both of these mons here. But you know, Aaron does have that wide guard up his sleeve. Follow Me does come out. There is the Tailwind from Aaron, so it doesn't go for the wide guard, but when it comes out and takes it down to its Sash, and Trick Room does at least get set up. So that's a really great read there from Dogsy, because some great players there. And Dogsy gets the Trick Room up while Aaron Tailwind. So the Tailwind there would have been great, but Oranguru, you know, getting the speed swapped the other way. Ndidi, you know, just able to take that Bug Bite pretty handedly. Aaron maybe could have been better to go for the double attack there just to break Ndidi, but you know, there is the Instruct comes out, and Follow Me comes out again. There is the Psychic. And the U-turn is going to take out the Ndidi, and that's going to enable this Scyther to switch out into something a little bit more suitable, as Aaron got something that's slow enough as a Ludicolo switches in. And Gastrodon comes as well, so this is good and bad potentially. You know, I think Gastrodon maybe would have been wanted to be situated next to Ndidi more so than Oranguru, as there's the Mega Aerodactyl switches out, in comes the the Scyther. Great switch in there by Aaron Rees. The Scald coming out instructed there is the second Scald. And Scyther hangs on, does get bent for his troubles. Giga Drain is going to take out the Gastrodon. And straight away it is a 4v2. This is a great Scyther. Does go down to the bend. Damage making it 3v2. But now Oranguru and Dogsy's final Pokemon with it all left to do. Has he got the data on the back? He's brought the Necrozma. It is the Necrozma and Mega Aerodactyls, which is back in. This Necrozma has been pretty bulky. You know, it's proven a lot of, mostly me, but it's proven a lot of people wrong this season. This Necrozma, you know, when Dogsy's been on it, this Necrozma has been an absolute sort of menace to deal with, and got some big kills with those sort of Power Herb, Meteor Beam, you know, just buffing its special attack, and it's, you know, reliably tanky is there. Is the Ally Switch, Meteor Beam comes out, hits into the Mega Aerodactyl and takes it out. So that's a really big kill. There's the Muddy Water, so it does miss the Oranguru. Gets the Necrozma though, gets a little bit of damage away, but no accuracy drop, so Dogsy will be happy with that. But now in comes the Regidrago, and he's going to need to take care of it very quickly before it starts Dragon Energy, or he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Good on Dogsy for bringing it back down to a 2v2. This is, you know, pretty good sort of mid-late game play from Dogsy here. It didn't look too promising at the start there in this game too, but he's brought it back. Just got a little dancing pineapple and the God of Dragons to deal with now instead. Has got that buffed. Necrozma Protect comes out from that Regidrago there. Is the Sunny Day, so it's going to stop the Muddy Waters from doing as much damage. For Ongeyser is into the Regidrago though, so the Protect stops that from going off, and now Trick Room has ended, and this could be quite bad for Dogsy. Could go for Trick Room once again if he's got the Protect on the Necrozma. You know, can maybe hope that Aaron just doubles into that Necrozma slot. But is Aaron going to predict the Trick Room here and just go straight into the Oranguru? Would be the wise thing to do. Does maybe risk one of his mons taking a hit from Necrozma if there is no Protect running around there, but it's going to be a brave call. There's the Dragon Energy, so the Regidrago is fast, and Necrozma goes down, and it's all left up to Oranguru. Muddy Water does miss, but Oranguru doesn't look to have any damaging moves, does get the Trick Room up, but Regidrago is faster, and this one is going to be a 2-0 to Aaron, and Aaron advances on to the winners semi-finals. Dogsy Shadow Kings drop down to the losers bracket then. So great start there from our Season 2 champion and Season 3 regular season champion as well. Yep, just all we can do is instruct. Aaron takes it 2-0, and a great start there from Aaron. We love to see that, but commiserations to Dogsy. It was a pretty close game. In fact, I don't think a lot of people were expecting Aaron not to bring the Sword Dog, and Regidrago more than, you know, enough pulled the reins and managed to sort of really do a lot of the heavy lifting work, and as well Mega Aerodactyl as well, which we've not seen Aaron bringing too often this season. It's made the odd few appearances here and there, but you know, when it has appeared, it really puts in the work. And it really helps Aaron get those wins. So GG's to both opponents there on that game. It was a really fun one to watch. And yeah, we will see Dogsy in the losers bracket, and Aaron moves on then to the winners semi-final. On to our second game though, it is the Space City PC taking on the Swindon Rookies. Of course, with this being Meme's debut season, only has the one match and head-to-head record to speak of, and Meme does have that advantage. It was 1-0. We saw last time the Umbreon and the Rotom Wash just absolutely walled Draco's team, but there is two changes to speak of on these teams, and one very, very huge change for the Swindon Rookies. We'll look at the Space City PCs first. Has dropped that Linoon Galar and picked up the Spiritomb then, of course, Spiritomb with that Infiltrator ability, and of course a relatively bulky mon, you know, just up until Fairy types were introduced, didn't really have a sort of weakness to speak of as well, so a pretty good pick up there. Spiritomb, you know, quite an underrated, you know, low tier pick as well. With that Infiltrator ability, I can definitely understand why he's picked it up. But over on the Rookidee side, Draco has indeed dropped his Yveltal, the thing that's really sort of just been a mainstay of his team the whole season, and picked up regular old Zacian. So that is the Zacian without the sword. Yeah, so it still gets Intrepid Sword as an ability, which is absolutely insane, but does lose its Steel typing. but all the same, it has some very, very strong stats. So it's a very, very huge pickup for Draco. And I imagine is going to be able to really put in the work here, and is really going to give a lot of people a lot to think about, you know, in terms of matchups going forward here. Of course, does have that Melmetal running around as well. Does like to get out of the trick room with that Mimikyu. Mimikyu, of course, out disguise means you've got to comfortably deal with that Mimikyu before you even think about, you know, taking care of that Melmetal, and that Melmetal can hit super, super hard and is a defensive wall. You know, not so tough on the special side, but you know, unless you've got a very reasonably good fire attack in the sun, this thing with an Assault Vest is a very, very bulky boy. Of course, has that Mega Gyarados as well with that Mold Breaker ability. Mega Gyarados here, it could be quite a sort of a big one to deal with the likes of that Mega Charizard and the Groudon. Does got to be careful of the Venusaur, of course, under the sun. Is not gonna enjoy taking an Energy Ball or any kind of grass attack for that matter. But you know, in position correctly, if he can get the rain up, then he's you know, he's laughing. You know, we've seen him run Rain Dance on that type of Koko, running a kind of mixed support like special attacking Koko a few times. So it's definitely something Meme's got to be careful of. You know, of course, has the Rage Powder on that Volcarona as well, so that it might allow him to set something up with one of his other support ones as well. You know, we've got things like the Mr. Mime, which has the things like Fake Out, Follow Me, has Quick Guard, Wide Guard, is a very, very strong pick, with Sash could be quite a headache for Meme to deal with. Over on Meme's side, of course, Meme has had one hell of a stellar debut season in the British Pokemon League, large thanks to the absolute bulk of his team, and just the sort of trio of Mega Charizard, Groudon, and Venusaur alongside Mienshao have just been so difficult for people to stop. And if you're able to get past them four, then Umbreon and Rotom Wash tend to sort of be waiting for you to just sort of stall you out and wore you out with Toxic and with Moonlight. And with Snarls. You know, this team has been phenomenally difficult to stop. It's why he's only lost the 3 games. He's got a very, very strong team, and it, you know, really synergizes quite well. And we've seen that a lot from him this season. And it, you know, apart from having a very good team, is just a very good player. And of course, the most handsome man in all of Texas. Let's not forget that. Does have Follow Me options of his own in the Togekiss, so you know, we do know that Zacian has the Solar Blade. We've seen the Crown version running the Solar Blade on Aaron's team, so definitely something that'll be in Meme's mind. You know, something like that Torterra as well could potentially prove to be a bit of a problem child for Meme's team, but I think he has that sort of well covered. You know, with the likes of the Mienshao, with the likes of the Rotom Wash and things. So it could be a very close game. You know, I think going into it, a lot of people would have favoured Meme, but since that Zacian pickup and just sort of how it works into his team and how it can sort of benefit in the sun with that Solar Blade and you know, benefits outside the sun as well, this could be quite a close one to call. So I'm expecting a good match from these two. Without further ado, let's get right into this one. It is the Space City PC taking on the Swindon Rookadies then. And as you can see there from Space City PC, so no Spiritomb, no new boys. It is the Groudon, Mega Charizard, Rotom Wash, Venusaur, Umbreon, and Dusknoir. So Dusknoir with that Trick Room capabilities. And on the Rookadee side, it is the Zacian, the Mr. Mime, Tapu Koko, Dripplin, the Volcarona, and of course the Mega Gyarados as well. So Zacian, understandably so, sat there opposing Mr. Space City PC, and Draco does choose to lead with it, and the Mr. Mime as well. I'm definitely going to call that thing Mimikyu a few times through the show. I do apologise. Of course, Zacian, with it not having the rusted sword, you are able to give it an item of, you know, any item you want. And Draco has gone with the Life Orbs of Frisk on that. Dusknoir does manage to pick that up, and Meme also leading the line with Rotom Wash as well. So could see him sort of look to get Trick Room up and try and either set up screens or, you know, go for something like a T-Wave or something from that Rotom Wash just to try and sort of, you know, nullify what that Zacian wants to do. Or, I said, may look to go for screens like a Reflector or a Light Screen, just to try and limit the damage output that Draco's putting out from sort of heavy offense team. As we mentioned earlier, that Mr. Mime does have the things like the Fake Out, Follow Me, that I'm sure Meme is well aware of. So got to play this one carefully because can't fake out that Dusknoir. So Draco's going to have to potentially sort of look at doubling into Dusknoir here, stop it from doing what it wants to do. I would definitely expect to fake out into Rotom Wash and some sort of attack into that Dusknoir, whether it's got the power and the move in question to take out Adjustment, that Adjustment is incredibly bulky. You know, it's not like Series 9 and Series 7, you know, where we've had Dynamax running around where, you know, you can reliably double it. That thing there is the fake out into the Rotom Wash and play rough into the Rotom Wash as well. Rotom Wash manages to just tank that hit completely. It does put the Citrus Berry, so that's some good information for Draco, but Trick Room does go up for the side of Mean then, so maybe not less than ideal there for Draco, but he is still in the center. He's got some good damage off at weight Rotom Wash, and I said some good information regardless with that Citrus Berry. As you can see by the moves there is a bit of a spicy moveset on that Mr. Mime with the Side Shock and the Teeter Dance. And a light screen of its own as well, so those could come into play later on in the game, I'm sure, especially the likes of the screens and the Teeter Dance. There is Protect from Zacian, and Gravity comes out from the Dusknoir. Will-O-Wisp from the Rotom Wash as well is stopped, and there is the Teeter Dance. Is going to get the confusion on the Rotom Wash and the Dusknoir. Of course, Protect on the Zacian, stopping it from being affected by that. Good turn there from Draco. Almost stalling out the Trick Room a little bit. If you can get some very clutch confusions here, then this could be really, really good news for the Rookadies going forward. You know, Meme's going to have to try and get a switch in at some point and bring something in to deal with that Zacian. Of course, the likes of that Venusaur can comfortably do that with the likes of a Sludge Bomb. Already seen the Will-O-Wisp, so got to be careful that as Drifblim just switching swatches out the Zacian, then confusion hit on the Drifblim, not on Drifblim, on the Dusknoir, does get the Will-O-Wisp off, but is going to hit into that Drifblim, so great switch out there from Draco, and a little bit of damage there to Rotom Wash. Rotom Wash just about hanging on with that 1% damage, because it could potentially hit itself in this next turn and take itself out, which would be less than ideal. And that Drifblim now has taken the burn for its troubles, but at least has saved the Zacian for later on in the game once Trick Room ends. But, you know, Draco's got to deal with this Dusknoir at some point. And Dusknoir does hit itself once again. There's the Thunderbolt, gets some really good damage away there. And the red card comes out to bring in the Groudon then for the final turn. Trick Room. Acrobatics comes out from the Drifblim to get a little bit of chip damage away to the Groudon. Groudon, of course, it sets up that Sun and is not going to be overly comfortable in Trick Room here. And that red card has been played now. So again, some good information there from me, but that red card play could end up proving to be quite useful. You know, I would always think that the Groudon was going to be in the back, but I think it's good for Draco to know that the Groudon is sat there and was in the sort of the team of 4. Still needs to take care of the Dusknoir confusion. Does end. There's the Poltergeist. It's going to take the I told you I'd call it Mimikyu. The Mr. Mime down to Sash, and the Precipice Blaze is going to get rid of both the Drifblim and the Mr. Mime. So that's a really, really bad turn there for Draco. So the Zacian and the Koko have it all to do, but Trick Room has now ended. So he's just going to go all out attack here, just try and get rid of something, get himself back into the game, but is positioned very well to do so. It does have the light screen up. And Koko, of course, we have seen it run Rain Dance in the past. As you can see, they're hovering over the grass knot there as well, which is going to be a really, really useful move for Draco to have in dealing with that Groudon. Got to try and get those heavy hitters taken out. Groudon just returns, in comes the Rotom Wash. Dazzling Gleam's going to take out said Rotom Wash and get some good damage away to Dusknoir. Solar Blade's going to come outside, some good information there for me. And Solar Blade is going to get rid of Dusknoir, and then all of a sudden, a turn later, it is now a 2v2. And it is Groudon and Venusaur versus the Zacian and the Koko then. So Venusaur has type advantage and a moveset over both these mons, of course, a Sludge Bomb. And Groudon, of course, has Precipice Blades, but Meme needs to hit said Precipice Blades first of all. You know, that's easier said than done. You know, it's not a very accurate move. And you know what Showdown RNG is like. If it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, well, then shit. You know, it's kind of awkward. Protect comes out from the Groudon. There is a Sludge Bomb. Zacian just tanks that hit. Rain Dance comes out from the Koko. And there is the Psychic Fang is going to take the Venusaur down with Sash. So information there for Draco, knows that where the Sash is, you know, sitting now. is on the Venusaur. And this is a very good position now. He's reset the weather, means that Venusaur's going to be slow. There's the Dazzling Gleam to get rid of the Venusaur, gets a little tiny bit of chip damage away to the Groudon. Precipice Glaze comes out, is going to proc the Shuckerberry on the Koko, so Koko managing to hang on through that as a little bit of information for Meme going into next game, but it looks very much like Draco has got this. There's the Grass Knot from the Koko, and Draco, Swin and Rookidis take the lead into this one. And Meme now got it all to do to bring this one back, but a really, really close and intense game one there from the guys. Really well played. And this time, Meme choosing to play a little bit more offensively, leads with the Groudon, and of course has Dusknoir in as well. Draco's, you know, it ain't broken, don't fix it, leads out with the Zacian and of course the Mist and Mime. Gonna go straight on the attack there, it looks like, with the Solar Blade. The Protect comes out from the Groudon. Has he doubled in? There's the Fake Out. Oh, Draco unfortunately did accelerate that time, but he did double into the Groudon, and Dusknoir gets the Trick Room up, which is not going to be good for the Rookidis. Because Groudon going to be much slower than that Zacian, so Draco gonna have to go for something like the Teeter Dance here, just to try and slow the Groudon down and hope that RNG goes his way. Charizard switches out then for the Groudon. There's the Protect comes out, so it looks to be Teeter Dance. Rock Slide comes out from the Dusknoir, gets a little bit of damage away to Mr. Mime and gets the Flinch, most importantly, so no Teeter Dance this turn round. And Meme gonna be looking to mega that Charizard this turn, so Draco needs to do something to, you know, especially the Dusknoir, just so it doesn't get another turn and Trick Room up, but maybe going to try and focus down the Charizard, you know, the offensive ones on Meme's side. It's a difficult one to sort of choose from. Could be safe to go for Ledge Screen, but he does go, he springs in the Drift Blimp. There is the Rock Slide from the Dusknoir, so that's going to proc the red card. If Dusknoir's going to switch out as in comes the Groudon. There's the Heat Wave, it gets rid of the Drift Blimp. Of course, can do so much damage under the sun. There's the Play Rough from the Zacian. Charizard managed to just tank that hit, but so much damage away from the Zacian, even with it being a resisted attack. And Zacian's Life Orb doing a little bit of chip damage to it there as well. But Draco is in one hell of a spot now. 2 turns of Trick Room left to go, and both Mons there are going to be much slower than his other option, the Tapu Koko. Gotta play this one carefully now. If he can maybe stall out the Trick Room, he could be in a better position, but that flinch on the Mr. Mime proving to be very, very costly there, I think. So Meme will be very well aware of the moveset on the Koko now. Has got all that information game one, so can choose very carefully how to play this. Knows that there's a Shuckerberry waits there. Is the Protect. Precipice Blaze comes outside. Is going to proc. Said Shuckerberry. Is he going to have doubled in? He goes for the Heat Wave. Goes to get your spread moves. And the Heat Wave is going to get rid of the Koko. Of course, on the Sun's going to do so much damage. And this one looks to be over then. So Meme's has brought this one right back again. And has put himself in a very good position now. Played this one super well with getting the Trick Room up from turn 1. Has just controlled things since the Trick Room was up. And Charizard's coming just doing so much damage as Dusknoir switches in. Mr. Mime goes down to the attack from the Charizard there. Unfortunately, Draco had to advance the turn there. Unfortunately, Draco giving us the recording there. Now Zacian with it all to do, and Meme is going to tie this one up at 1 apiece. Player comes out, so he is going to get rid of the Charizard. But that one's going to do it. Poltergeist comes out and Zacian goes down. Dusknoir the victor, and a very, very convincing win there for Meme in this game too. So Draco's really got to switch this up now. He's got to work out how to put a stop to that Trick Room, and I think it's going to involve doubling into that Dusknoir. If he leaves it alone, he's going to be in one hell of a trouble as he leads with Mr. Mime. This time switches out to Volcarona, and you know, Meme going down the same lines as Draco from that game 1, the Groudon and the Dusknoir work so well. You can bait the Fake Out into the Groudon by going for the Protect. Of course, he can't Fake Out the Dusknoir. And he can comfortably get Trick Room up here unless Draco is able to, you know, do something to deal that Dusknoir. Or even if he's able to do something to set himself up for that next turn. Once that Groudon's in the Trick Room with Draco's team being so much faster, he's just been able to put in so much work. He's just able to double in with those attacks, and even with the red card, you know, risks bringing something else in that's going to just benefit being in play that time. is Protect from the Groudon. So it does go for the fake out in the Groudon. And the Fiery Dance, in the ground as well. So Dusknoir just free to get the Trick Room up again. That could be a huge mistake there from Draco. Not just doubling into that Dusknoir and trying to get rid of it. And now he's got to choose very wisely. Is he going to go for a Teeter Dance again? Try and go for the confusions? Or is he maybe going to go looking at screens or switching something else in to sort of, keep Mr. Mime around for later on in the game? That Volcarona's not in a very good spot, Groudon does tend to run with those rock slides, so unless it's running a Charty Berry, it's going to hit harder there. Is said Charty Berry proc by the rock slide from the Dusknoir, but there's another rock slide in there, both hit, and that takes out the Volcarona, and the Mr. Mime gets flinch for his troubles as well. Another flinch there, and this one is looking very, very difficult for Draco to bring back now here with another 3 turns of Trick Room to go. The double rock slide, both rock slides hitting the RNG, really, really going Meme's way in this one. There is the rock slide from the Dusknoir, gets rid of the Mr. Mime. Does bring in the Venusaur though. There's the rock slide from the Groudon and gets rid of the Drifblim, and it is now a 1v4. This game 3 has just went absolutely to pot for Draco, unfortunately, and Meme is going to take this one 2-1, it would seem. 2 more turns of Trick Room to go, so he is at least going to go before the Venusaur. I think Groudon goes for the Protect. Protect comes out from the Zacian, just trying to start that Trick Room. Sleep Powder comes away by the Venusaur. Trying to put the thing to sleep, just to rub salt into the wounds of Draco's Groudon. With that, in comes the Dusknoir. There is a Solar Blade, sees it was coming that way. The Groudon is going to proc the Papa Berry on the Dusknoir. Not that it's going to matter now. Sleep Powder does come out from the Venusaur as Sun is going to end, but that's going to allow me to just be able to switch something else in to reset the Sun. Sludge Bomb's going to come away though. There is one attack. Poltergeist going to finish things off, and Meme takes this one 2-1. A great start there from Space City. We love to see that. GG's to both players as always. I think Draco played that really, really smart and really well in the game 1. The red card I think really threw Meme off his game. But I think Meme's just used that game 1 as an information game and had just been able to comfortably take it from there. Just the Trick Room so powerful for Meme and his Space City team. From that point, and just had no way of stopping it, and the double rock slides as well, both landing. Got to be really, really tough to take, but these things happen. It's Pokemon. It is a luck-based game. You just got to sort of, take it as it comes and get angry about it, late at night when you're staring at yourself in the mirror wondering, why have I done this? I'm kidding. GG's to both guys. Meme does move on in the playoffs bracket, and of course, will now be playing Inglorious Surfers in the winning semi-finals. Draco drops down to the losers bracket and will be facing Dogsy. But let's get on our next 2 matches and see who's going to join them in the winners semis and who's going to join them in the losers. Up next then, it is the South Croydon Saws taking on the Newcastle Thunderous. So Newcastle Thunderous, with the head-to-head record over Chris and his South Croydon Saws, has been a little bit of a sort of a bugbear of Chris's, trying to beat Dave's team. Got the win over him the first time around in Season 2, but since then, Dave has had his number. Dave, with no changes to speak of in the playoffs, is sticking with his guns, is happy with what he's got, and making no changes. Crizzle does pick up the Electabuzz, though, something that he wanted to pick up in the mid-season break and has now got it on his team. So, of course, Electabuzz does have accessibility to the Follow Me in this format, so just having that, extra option, since the Indeedee male, like its Indeedee female counterpart, does not have Follow Me. Very, very, very important move for Crizzle to have, especially when it comes to that Kyogre. Last time round, Dave was able to play the stall game and play around with the Ferrothorn and get a really, really important win, and that Tapu Lele as well. Really proven to be a nightmare for Crizzle to deal with, taking out the Salazzle and the Hydreigon, with the psychic attacks, and of course the fairy moves, hitting at the Hydreigon. Not going to enjoy that too much. But, Chris was able to take the game 1. I think the Mega Swampert, again, could be really, really big here. It deals really well with things like the Insane, the Lantern, the Galar Weezing, the Dialga even, and potentially the Ferrothorn as well. We saw Chris running that low kick on the Mega Swampert last time. Could maybe go for something like Brick Break this time round, but got to be watchful in case Dave is running that Rocky Helmet Iron Barbs duo on that Ferrothorn. That Ferrothorn is very, very bulky, is unlikely to get OHKO'd by any attacks. And if it's doing that chip damage away with the Iron Barbs, and the Rocky Helmet, and then he's got Lead Seed also running as well. You know, it's just that little bit of chip damage away it's doing each time. And Dave's just been able to win so many games just by doing that and playing so smart with the switches, you know. I think with that, we've really seen Dave come into his own this season with this team. It's been a joy to watch him, and I think it's going to be a very fun playoffs run for Mr. Big Dog Dave. Over on Crizzle's side, though, of course, we did mention that Salazzle. I think Salazzle could be quite important here if he's able to position it correctly, because that Ferrophone being 4 times weak to fire and not having as much special bulk as defensive bulk. If he can get it positioned correctly, then I think Salazzle is going to be an important piece to that puzzle. But got to be watchful of that Lantern as well, you know. Crizzle likes to sit there with a Kyogre and either Water Spout and Origin Pulse, but have got to be desperately careful around that Lantern. You know, it's an information game with the Lantern. I think as soon as it's on the field, you've got to hit it with either a Water or Electric Attack and hope that it's, you know, it's not Volt Absorb or not Water Absorb, depending on what you've hit it on. So definitely got to play careful with that and that Lantern. You know, it's not the biggest sort of, you know, attacker, sweeper, but it hits hard, especially under the rain. It's got access to Thunder. It can get some really big damage off into that Kyogre. Crizzle can play around with the switch-ins there with the Mega Swampert, of course, is going to resist those electric attacks, but got to be watchful indeed of that Lantern. You know, doesn't want to get himself in a position where his Kyogre is stuck Water Spouting, Origin Pulsing, say if it's Scarfed or something, and he's just, you know, repeatedly healing that Lantern up. So this could be a close one. These two always have spectacular matches, so I'm expecting nothing less than these two. Without further ado, let's get right in this one. It is the South Croydon Saws taking on the Newcastle Thunderous, and Crizzle has got the Kyogre Whimsicott, Mega Swampert, the Electabuzz, the Pheromosa, and Hydreigon in his lineup. Dave with the Lele, Ferrophone, Suicune, Dialga, the Mega Banette, and the Lantern. We didn't speak much about the Mega Banette there in the team screens, but that Mega Banette is an absolute monster to deal with. Has the 170 base attack, but of course gets access to Prankster, and some of its Prankster moves are just insane. So keep an eye out for that thing. Dave is leading the line with the Lele and the Suicune, and Chris with the Whimsicott and the Kyogre. We're seeing Whimsicott doing a bit of sweeping of its own, you know, just like to run the energy ball on that Whimsicott, just to get that a little bit more attacking prowess away. And, you know, people keep putting grass mons that are weak to grass type attacks in front of Crizzle, so he just sort of like takes advantage of that with the energy ball. They've got to be very careful because Kyogre does tend to run the Thunder. There is the Origin Pulse, so sees that coming in. Great switch in there from Dave, brings in the Lantern, so there is some good information for Crizzle. At least knows it's Water Absorb now, but gets a little bit of damage away to the Suicune. And Lantern just happily takes the Surf and the Origin Pulse from the Suicune and the Kyogre. So now it comes down with Dave's Lantern facing off the monster of the sea, and it laughs in its face, essentially, is what it does. Protect comes out from the Whimsicott then there, and Protect from the Kyogre, so there is the Icy Wind from Suicune, so seeing the speed drop, and potentially an Eerie Impulse coming his way, and that's a great read there from Dave, from Crizzle, sorry. Stops the stat drop there, coming out of the Kyogre, and really sort of putting it at a disadvantage. Yeah, we won't speak about the Luminous Moss fail, Dave. I wasn't going to bring it up, but now you brought it up, yeah. Kyogre is going to switch out those Zers. This Swampert comes in, so sees that there may be an Eerie Impulse or an Electric Attack comes its way. He's made the read, probably Icy Wind is going to come out and drop the speeds. Thunder comes out from Lantern, and of course Mega Swampert's going to eat that up for its Cornflakes. Great read there from Crizzle. This is what tends to happen between these two. You just see great read after great read repeatedly through the game. It's always just an absolute honour to watch these matches between these two opponents. Great start from Dave and great start from Crizzle indeed, you know, both the 4 months on the field. 10 for its Ferrophone is going to switch in. Swampert goes for it. Its Mega Protect comes out from that Whimsicott again. High horsepower into the Mega Swampert. Iron Barbs is going to do a bit of chip damage. There's the Scald from the Suicune. No burns, which maybe is what Dave was looking for. Leftovers going to give some of that edge back to Ferrophone as well. But good turn all round there from Dave. Get some good damage away to that Mega Swampert. And like I said, it's just got to be really careful of it. At least knows that it is. There's no Rocky Helmet, but those Iron Barbs are going to do enough damage on their own potentially if the Leech Seeds start coming out of there. Is the low kick on the Ferrophone, get some good damage. Iron Barbs again doing the work. There is the Icy Wind, dropping the speeds even further. It's going to proc the Igual, very so some good information there for Dave. And the Hurricane onto the Ferrophone as Power Whip comes out from the Ferrophone. So he is running Power Whip on the Ferrophone this time. Don't tend to see that from Dave running an attacking move. It is usually Body Press if there is any attacking move on this. That's a great move choice from Dave. It gets rid of the Swampert and advantage to the Thunderous as Kyoga switches back in to bring back that brain. Ferrothorn is in a bit of a position now with that low HP, but you know, with the leftovers could just go for the protect and try and just keep it switching out, but does switch in. The Lantern, Krizzle sees that coming and goes straight for the Suicune. Gets some damage away to the Wings of that Thunder. The Suicune just comfortably eating that Thunder, by the way, from the Kyogre. And we just speak about Suicune's special defense bulk. It's absolutely insane that it just sort of tanked that, you know, Kyogre with its crazy special attack, and then Thunder, one of the more, you know, strongest moves in the game, and Suicune just like, it's just a, you know, bit of a shock, you know, a bit shocking, a bit electrifying. Stares down menacingly, you know what I mean? But yeah, great start here from Div. Has got the one advantage. Protect is going to come out like Kyogre sees the potential of the Eerie Impulse could come his way. Icy Wind is out on this weekend. Gets the critical hit, and Whimsy goes down, does get the Tailwind up, but is going to go down for his troubles, and now it's 2v4 then for Chris. As in comes the Pheromosa, and so Tailwind does up. I mean, Pheromosa, to be honest, was probably going to outspeed most of Dave's team anyway. This thing is just lightning fast. I mean, look at it. It's like a piece of paper, essentially. Of course it's fast, but now it's even faster. And there is the close combat. Gets a really good damage away into the Lantern, and the Thunder is going to get rid of the Suicune. There is the Thunder from the Lantern. Gets some really good damage away at the Kyogre, but gets the paralysis on the Kyogre. How huge could that be then? As it is now a 3v2. Pheromosa, of course, with that CC, has dropped his defenses. Ferrothorn switches in. I think the Ferrothorn could be about to go down here. You know, Pheromosa can comfortably just go for a CC here again, unless Dave can make the read and get a protect off and try and go for an attack with that Lantern. You know, the Kyogre speed going to be half thanks to that paralysis. Of course, Tailwind is up, so it's probably going to be back down to its regular speed. So this is looking good for Dave, but got to make the correct read here. Could potentially sacrifice the Ferrothorn. That's a great read there from Dave. Goes for protect on the Lantern. The paralysis is going to hit on the Kyogre, and there's the lead seed on Pheromosa, so going to get some more of that HP back that he lost there earlier on in the game. Great stuff there from Dave. You know, I think really just had a psych Krizzle out there. You know, is he going to go for the protect on the Ferrothorn, and the Lantern go for the attack, or vice versa? And RNG goes a little bit of Dave's way there. Protect comes out from the Kyogre. Another great read there from Dave. Working really well for the protects. Kyogre does get the Thunder off to get rid of the Lantern, and that is now going to allow Tapu Lele to switch in. Tailwind has ended that Kyogre speed. Is now going to be halved as the second terrain does go up, and that Lele is in a great spot now. You know, we've seen him run Energy Ball on this in the past. Has got the Dazzling Gleam, which is going to comfortably take care of the Pheromosa then, so positioned really well here. But what a game one this has been on the 10, number 11. Really sort of meeting in the minds in this game. That may be better with my microphone, by the way, guys. I think I might have the wrong side. But there's the close combat from the Pheromosa. That gets rid of the Ferrothorn. It's going to take a bit of Iron Bar damage. Beast Boost comes off there as the Dazzling Gleam. It gets rid of the Pheromosa, and it is now Tapu Lele versus the Kyogre. And Kyogre gets the paralysis again. I said that paralysis could be really huge in this game. Energy Ball comes out, and Dave is going to take the lead into this one. And advantage to the Newcastle Thunderous. Not what Krizzle would have wanted to see this early on in the tournament, but of course it is still on go for and leads out with the Kyogre and the Mega Swampert. Then Dave sticking with the Suicune lead. We saw in that game one working super well. The Dave and that Suicune just couldn't be living every attack that comes its way. Chris got to be very careful. You're never going to go for something like an attack. Just, you know, one energy ball from that Lele is going to be more than enough to take out the Swampert. The switch up, sees it like a water attack coming again, goes for the liquidation. That's a great read there from Davis. Thunder goes out from Kyogre, gets some good damage away at the Suicune there. The Snap is going to drop a special attack on the Kyogre, and this is what Suicune does best. It just tanks, hits, and drops stats. Now that might be a bit better, guys. Do apologise for that. Maybe I had it on the right setting initially and I've made it worse. I don't know. Yeah, I think I did. I think I actually made it worse. Alright, there's a Scald from this weekend trying to go for that bounce again. Swampert has gone for the bulk up though, so it's going to get that buffed up attack and the buffed up defense as well. So that's great stuff there from Chris. Sees the Protect may come out and uses that to his advantage to set up the Swampert. Yeah, it was on the right setting in the first place. I think just the music was a little bit loud. I was a bit too far away from the mic. Anyway. Let's stop with the distractions now. So Kyogre in a bit of a position, Krizzle maybe, maybe best for Krizzle to try and, switch out the Kyogre and go for a bit of a pivot play. There's the low kick, doesn't quite get rid of the Suicune. Thunder is going to get rid of said Suicune though. Kyogre just happily sits in. Eerie Impulse comes out this way though and drops his special attack down even further, but does have now the Mon advantage. Has got rid of that troublesome water dog. That was such an issue in that game one. That thing is just so incredibly bulky. In this format, there's some ones that you're used to seeing in the other formats. So you're like, oh no, they're fine, and then they come into this format and just tank every hit. Low kick comes out from the Mega Swampert as it takes the Iron Barb. So that's some good damage rate at the Ferrothorn though, and the Lantern going for that Thunder. In comes the Leech Seed, and that Ferrothorn's going to start getting that HP back and dropping that Swampert's HP 10 by 10. That low kick from that attack buff getting so much more damage off to the Ferrothorn though. Hydreigon's position probably exactly where it wants to be. It never wants to be in front of the Tapu Lele, that's for sure. But this where it is now is really great. There's a Dragon Meteor. It's going to drop a special attack with some really good damage weight to the Lantern as Eerie Impulse comes out, drop its special attack just that little bit further. And now in comes the Leech Seed again. And Ferrothorn gets a little bit more of its HP back, and the stall play comes into play then. Rain has ended, so Krizzle, if he wants that rain up, is going to have to play a bit of pivot play with that Kyogre. Ferrothorn has been an absolute monster for the Thunderous this season. He's had it in the past this year and it's always put in the work, but this season it's just really been a mainstay on that team, and it's why, along with Incin and Lele, it's got the most kills on that team. It's just really put in the work, especially alongside the likes of the Suicune and the Lantern. They're just very bulky boys. You find it hard to break through that team without some significant setup or with some significant damage dealers. So move on into turn number 6 then. Krizzle does have the advantage in this game, but that Ferrothorn is set up very well. May choose to keep the Kyogre in. I'm just thinking that Hydreigon does tend to run the Heat Wave. If you can get the Heat Wave hit on that Ferrothorn while there's no rain up, it may be the best way to deal with said Ferrothorn. It does go for the switch out, in comes the Swampert. Protect comes out from that Kyogre. Protect comes out from the Ferrothorn as there's the Eerie Impulse, gets blocked by said Protect. And that could have been the time for Dave to go on the attack there, potentially sort of maybe try and read the switch in, but it could have went either way there. Chris could have went on the attack with the Hydreigon or made the switch. Very difficult one to call. As Kyogre switches out, in comes the Hydreigon. There is the pivot play we spoke about. Swampert is going to get rid of the Lantern. There's the Power Whip, is going to now get rid of said Swampert, so Dave doesn't now get one on the board, but that's going to allow Kyogre to switch back in. And now it's all up to the Tapu Lele and the Ferrothorn versus the Hydreigon and Kyogre then. Of course, as we said earlier, Hydreigon, one thing it does not want to do is it does not want to face down against that Tapu Lele. It is a very weak to Fairy type. Is that little 3-headed Dragon Boy there. As a Dazzling Gleam gets rid of Hydreigon, so great stuff there from Div. Origin comes out, it takes Lele right down, it goes for the Leech Seed on the Kyogre. So it's going to get the Ferrothorn back up a little bit more HP. There's now a 2v2. Is this where Dave takes it? In comes the Pheromosa though. This is not good for Dave. That Pheromosa is going to be so much faster than the Ferrothorn. Has got to hope that he can get a Protect off here, and there's no Feint running around. This is a very difficult one to call. It looks to be a better position here for Crizzle, but who knows? This is the British Pokemon League, where absolutely anything and everything does happen at all times. Protect coming out from the Lele, stops the Poison Jab going off. There's the Ice Beam into the Ferrothorn. Goes to the lead seat on the Pheromosa as well, so getting some more of that that attack back. I did not see the terrain, Crizzle. Yeah. Yeah, see, that wouldn't have been a smart play. This is why you're a smart player. When the rain's up and other things are up, I just don't see the terrain. This is why I always make these mistakes. Anyway. Both Mons on Crizzle's side are lead seated then. And gotta be careful here, Dave. That CC is gonna be more than enough to take out the Ferrothorn potentially here. And then leave it all up to the Lele for it to do. Pharaoh versus the world indeed. Are we going to see Dave move on as the Lele is going to go down that Poison Jab? Gets the Beast Boost for its troubles. There's the Ice Beams. Gets some really good damage away. There's the knockoff. It's going to knock off the Sash. Could have went into the Kyogre there instead of the Pheromosa. It's going to get 2 lots of lead seed back. But now that Pheromosa is going to be free to go for a CC into the Ferrothorn. And looks to be that Crizzle has got this one then. Protect comes out from the Ferrothorn, just trying to get some more of that HP back. Through the lead seed and the leftovers, almost back up to full HP. Just slowly trying to stall him out. Stall Crizzle out, as potentially still has a chance to take this. Can he go for the double protect? Goes to the CC, goes down to 5% HP with the Ice Beam, is surely going to take care of the business, and Crizzle takes this game number 2 and ties us up on 1 of these. Another game that's went all the way to 10 and number 12. Absolutely intense stuff here on these two guys as we move on into the game 3. And Dave choosing to stick with his guns, and Crizzle sticking with his guns as well. The same duo from game 2 and game 3 for both sides. Suicune and the Lele, and it is the Kyogre and the Mega Swampert for Crizzle. Is Crizzle going to try and go for a spicy read though here? We know that Dave likes to switch in. That Lantern goes the higher horsepower, sees the switch in maybe coming in, and makes a great read, sticks in and gets rid of the Swampert with the Energy Ball. Thunder not going to do enough to the Suicune, and Suicune gets a Snarl to drop the Kyogre's special attack as well. Good stuff there from Dave, and a great start getting rid of one of his heavy hitters and one of the biggest threats to that Ferrothorn. As now Pheromosa switches in then. Crizzle has at least done a big chunk of damage to that Suicune, so that's, you know, one problem one sort of half dealt with. But that Lele is positioned in a really good spot here. Goes for the Poison Jab, just about hanging on from that. There's the Dazzling Gleam. It's going to take Pheromosa down to its Sash. Plus Kyogre is going to be able to go for an attack here, gets rid of the Suicune, and it is now a 3v3. This one, both of them going absolutely all out attack here. This one, both trying to get the win and get on through to winners semi-finals and not have to deal with dropping down to losers bracket. Now in comes the Ferrothorn then. The problem on the thing that's been causing Crizzle the most issues so far. He won't be the first to have issues with Ferrothorn, and he definitely won't be the last. Dave just knows exactly what makes that Mon tick, and full credit to him. It has been an absolute beast, as has the Kyogre and Pheromosa for Crizzle. Sash on the Pheromosa. There's the close comeback. It's the critical hit though. How huge could that be? Gets rid of the Ferrothorn. Iron Barbs are going to revenge kill the Pheromosa though. But oh, that could be a disaster. Orange Impulse is going to get rid of the Lele, and now is a 1v2. Is it Lantern in the back? Or is it the Dialga? Or Mega Banette? It could be one of those three. Has he got the Lantern? Hydreigon switches in. It is the Dialga this time, so leaves the Lantern at home. What has he got in his locker here to try and get the 1v2 off? has got to pull out something big. That crit could be so huge here. That's why we said the sash on that Pheromosa is so useful. You know, it's such a heavy hitter and it's so fast that you can't let that thing run around for too long, but not really too much Dave could do about that. You know, I had to try and at least take it down with sash and hope that he could live through that CC, but that critical hit just, oh man, absolutely galling. Power comes out from the High Dragon. That's got some really big damage off on the Dale. The Origin Pulse does miss. Could that be big as Trick Room comes out? So it is going to reverse the speeds then. That Earth Power doing so much has got to take care of at least the High Dragon and hope for potentially an Origin Pulse miss. There's the Flash Cannon. Doesn't do enough to High Dragon. Origin Pulse takes down 1%. Air Power goes to get rid of it, and Crizzle takes this one 2-1. What an absolutely insane best of 3 we just witnessed there from the South Croydon Saws and Newcastle Thunderous then. GG's to both players. Absolutely insane. That had to go to a game 3 just to see those two really go for it in all 3 games. Insane stuff. And that game 3 was just like constant something happening. And that crit, man, really hard look at David. But GG's to both players. You know, if either one of them win there, it's deserved. You know what I mean? They both put their heart out on that one. Chris is going to move on to winners semi-finals. Dave drops down to the losers bracket then, and on to our final round 1 matchup then. It is the Long Island Goomies taking on the Wobbuffet Ninjas. The head-to-head record speaks for itself on this one. Matt Starr and the Ninjas have taken this one every single time these two have played. You know, all 6 times it has been a win for Matt Starr. You know, by his own admittance, I think it's silly. Cut out some of the mistakes and forgetting moves. That may look a little bit different, but, you know, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. 2 changes to speak of. Both sides, of course. Ninjas have dropped the Murkrow and picked up the Mew. And over on the Gumi side has picked up the Galadam Manatan. You know, Galadam we saw in last season's playoffs being such an absolute problem on Wheels towards that Belgrade team. And I expect it to do very much the same. It's, you know, position potentially even better when there's no Dynamax running around. So always got to be something to be careful of. But just as much so is that Mew. You know, this Mew, it gets one of every type of move, physical and special side, and has a huge status move pool. It's good and bad in that sense. That is, it's good because it makes it very difficult to predict until you start moving with the Mew. But bad in a case of there's no one perfect moveset for Mew. And makes it very difficult to build for sure. But Mew is a very strong Pokemon across all 100 base stats. And definitely something that I wanted to pick up. Last time around, we saw the Trick Room going up from the Lunala, proving to be a very big hit. And you know, just the Lunala itself just put in the work. Of course, it's positioned next to Kangaskhan with that fake out pressure. Kangaskhan with those double edges and Silk Scarf just really putting in the work and getting some very big hits. You know, as since then, the team has changed. Of course, now have the Finny and the Raikou. Raikou could be really big here for dealing with the likes of that Blastoise, and similarly Kangaskhan for dealing with the likes of that Galadam, just being able to stop it and take it out in that turn 1, you know, by faking it out. Typically, you're going to see a choice item ran on that Galadam. Most people tend to favour the Scarf, but of course you can run the band on it as well if you're feeling kind of saucy. It just depends what you want to do on it. I think it's going to definitely benefit the Ninjas here to try and go for something like potentially a Wide Guard or the Trick Room like we saw last time. You know, that Xerneas is always coming here, and once it's set up, it can be very difficult to stop. But a Trick Room goes up, and if the Ninjas can get that Mega Aggron, you know, positioned correctly, it's going to sort of handily deal with that Xerneas. And, you know, the Mega Aggron also resists what that Xerneas wants to do. Of course, got to be careful though, because not only is that Follow Me and Fake Out on the Blastoise useful for that Xerneas, it's also useful for that Mega Lucario as well. You know, the Mega Lucario with that adaptability, you know, it does deal very well into a lot of the Ninjas mons. You know, with this, the CC has a very wide move pool, but can run special or physical. And either way, it's going to hit really hard. You know, people like to run a sword stance on this thing, and I very much expect Silly to be doing the same thing here. Of course, has some speed control of his own as well in the form of that Talonflame with the Gale Wings. You know, if you don't deal with that thing, it is going to just happily set up Tailwind with priority in your face. And then you've got it all to do, unless you can reverse that speed control for sure. But anyway, guys, without further ado, let's get into this one. Our final game of round 1. It is the Water Vet Ninjas taking on Long Island Gumis. And over on the Gumi side, has got the Blastoise, Xerneas, Galadam, Talonflame, the Mega Lucario, and the Stone Janna. And the Ninjas leading the line with that Mew. And with the Lunala has got the Serena, Mega Aggron, the Tapu Fini, and the Raikou in the back then. So what set is going to be on this Mew? That is the question here. As the Faker comes out from the Mew, gets the critical hit on the Galadam. There's the Tailwind going up from the Talonflame. And Meteor Beam comes out from that Lunala, which is it went in for. It goes for the Galadam, and that is advantage to the Ninjas. Gets rid of the Galadam, the heavy hitter, but does unfortunately concede and let Talonflame get its Tailwind up. As now Xerneas switches in then, is free to sort of set up a G-Mancy. Of course, you know, it's going to buff his special defense upon doing that, and then Lunala's in a bit of a spot at that point in time of dealing with it as the switch in comes in for the Blastoise. G-Mancy does go up, gets the +2 speed, special attack and special defense. And there's the Moongeist Beam. It's not going to do an awful lot with that G-Mancy, but there's the Cosmic Power from the Mew then, so it's going to buff its own defense and special defense then, presumably to comfortably sort of deal with the attacks from that Xerneas then. Got to be careful here not to go down to a Dazzling Gleam. Even with Shadow Shield, it's going to take a big chunk of health off of it from taking the Dazzling Gleam for sure. You know, that Xerneas, it's got the most kills in the league for a reason. It's a very, very scary mon, and so he's been able to play it really, really well. You know, this has definitely been his strongest season by far. That Xerneas Blastoise duo has been so strong as Follow Me comes out. There is the Dazzling Gleam. It's going to proc the red card on the Mew though, so Xerneas goes out and loses its stats. And Mew and Lunala both currently living that, gets the soft boiled off on the Mew, and Moongeist been getting some really big damage on the Blastoise as well. As now Talonflame comes in play for the Xerneas, then so Xerneas with no boosts and now not on the field, so that's a really, really good item. Just we're going to see a lot of red card during this process. I think there's protectors out from Blastoise. Brave Bird gets some really big damage off, and Moongeist Beam is going to hit with that Blastoise, and so great read definitely. So seeing that the Ninjas might want to take out the weaker one and just lets it take that hit with the protect. And Talonflame's in a good spot here now. That Mew looks to be fully supportive then, so Ninja's got to be careful here not to allow Mew to be, last man standing. Seeing the Cosmic Power, seeing the soft boil then fake out as now the Mega Aggron switches in, takes the Flare Blitz then, so maybe not the best switching, and Coaching comes out there from the Mew, so gets the defense and attack buff onto the Mega Aggron. There's the Scald from the Blastoise, and now Mega Aggron can do Mega Aggron things for sure, but it is going to be the slowest thing on the field by far, so got to be careful here. Goes for its Mega, there's the Flare Blitz, takes a very big chunk of damage there from that. Coaching comes out from the Mew, but Scald comes out from the Blastoise, and that's going to get rid of the Mega Aggron, so that could have been a mistake there. Not going for the Protect, of course. Coaching is going to go through said Protect, so it might have been a better play to Protect, because in comes the Tapu thingy then. And Misty Surge goes up, gets the Misty Seed off, so that's for Death Boost. I think obviously that's for Death Boost, again, in mind of that Xerneas. Only one down for Silly then, so 1-1 down on both sides. But we've got to start taking some mons out here, or this is going to be quite difficult for Matt to bring things back. Follow Me comes out from the boss side. There's the Brave Bird, gets some really good damage off into the Infinity. The Coaching comes out, just try and buff its defenses. There's the Muddy Water, gets rid of the Talonflame. Blastoise does manage to hang on though, and now it's Zen Blastoise, the fateful duo. We're so used to seeing, and this could get quite scary quite fast. Xerneas potentially can just sort of go on the attack here. Misty Terrain is up. Of course, Fairy Aura as well is going to allow those Fairy attacks to do a bit more damage. He switches out and just sacrifices those stat boosters. In comes the Lunala. Double Protect comes his way. Stop the Moonblast going off. Blastoise. There is the Dazzling Gleams. Xerneas going to be faster, gets rid of the Lunala. Moonblast is going to get rid of the Blastoise. It is now a 2v1. But Xerneas then can just protect here and stop the fake out, and it will stop the attack from the Finny as well. So this is a very difficult spot. Xerneas is going to be doing so much more damage than the Finny. Protect, of course, there it is. Going to stop that fake out. Reads that very well and stops the Moonblast as well. Maybe would have been the time to go for something like a Calm Mind on the Finny just to try and get that little bit more damage off. There is the Dazzling Gleam. Finny does just about hang on. Mew goes the Cosmic Power, but it's going to be in vain. Moonblast not going to quite do enough. Takes Xerneas down to 3% HP. And Xerneas is obviously going to be faster, and it looks to be like Silly is going to take this game one. What an incredibly close game number one we've had on our hands here. Not quite enough on that Moonblast to get it done. Fake out, of course, the only move on Mew. Finny goes down. And that is going to be game number one then. The Goomies with the 1-0 lead. Ninjas choosing the forward there. Of course, no attacking move on the Mew. Some good information there for Silly, though. Knows that there's nothing on that Mew. And can try and play it a bit safe in this game too. So Lunala and the Mew sticking things out with the Ninjas. And Silly going more on the attack this time. Leads the line with the Blastoise and the Mega Lucario. Then we've not seen Silly use the Mega Lucario yet since he picked it up in the mid-season. And could it be about to be the start of this playoffs then? Goes, which Mega does go for protect, seeing that the fake out is probably coming its way. There is said fake out from the Mew. Goes for Guy Beam. Nobody home. And now Blastoise can potentially just comfortably go for these follow me's then and allow Mega Lucario to set up. Ninjas have got to be very, very careful here because this could get quite scary quite fast. Protected from the Lunala. Follow me comes out from the Blastoise. Sword stance goes up. There it is. And coaching comes out from the Mew, trying to buff the Lunala's defenses in the hopes it can take an attack from that Lucario then. See what the Ninja is trying to go for. Just hope that the Lunala's defense is really strong enough to get the attack for that Lucario is going to be able to just keep getting stronger until that Blastoise is taken care of. There's the follow me, and another sword stance comes out. Moongeist Beam into that Blastoise. It's not going to quite do enough. That Blastoise is incredibly bulky. And now in comes the Cosmic Powers from the Mew. Silly could reliably just go on the attack here and be fine there. The Bullet Punch doesn't quite do enough, but does break the Shadow Shield at least. Blastoise does go down to the 9. In comes the coaching then. So, and now Xerneas is on the field, and this is where it gets scary. You've got a 3 times attack buff Lucario, and Xerneas can comfortably just go for a Geomancy here, and this is not what the Ninjas want to see facing down in front of them. Of course, Lunala doesn't really have a reliable way of taking out the Xerneas. As proved last game, Xerneas is faster than said Lunala. Silly can just sort of double an attacks, Bullet Punch gets some really big damage off there. There's the Dazzling Gleam, going to get rid of the Lunala. Just show the red guard to bring out the Galardan. Coaching's of course going to fail. So it does get rid of the Xerneas form now. But this is not a good spot as Mega Aggron comes in, and again, not really what is going to want to be facing off. This Mega Lucario can reliably just sort of sweep through the team here. Silly playing this so smartly, just it works so well next to that Blastoise, and the Mew set just not quite working out from the Ninjas. There is Mega Aggron going for the protect. Close combat obviously blocked by said protect. There's the U-turn, and Mew just about hanging on. It's going to allow Xerneas to switch back in then. And Mew going to get that coaching off onto the Mega Aggron. I don't know that it's going to be enough, you know, against that Mega Lucario. Even with Filter, I think with that 3 times attack, it's going to just, with an adaptability, so you can absolutely rip through Mega Aggron. So this is quite a scary position for the Ninjas to be in. Raikou is switching into his Raikou this time. Close combat comes out and gets the Oko onto the Mega Aggron then. Not what the Ninjas want to see. There's Dazzling Gleam, get some really good damage off to the Raikou as well. And it is now all up to Mew and Raikou. And Silly looks to have taken this one and gets his first win over Matt Star, and then the fake out comes out there onto the Lucario, but it's not going to matter. Xenius gonna get that Dazzling Gleam. Now comes out from the Raikou. And there is the Dazzling Gleam, gets the crit on the Mew to boot as well. And Silly takes this one and move on to winners semi-final then. And the Ninjas, for a second season in a row, drop down to the losers bracket then. So absolutely insane stuff then. And as I said, Silly gets his first win over myself and the Ninjas then. So but let's take a look at that updated playoff bracket then. Down in losers round 1 then, it is going to be Dogsy Shadow Kings taking on the Swindon Rookadies, and Newcastle Thunderers taking on Wolverhampton Ninjas. So we have got ourselves a derby match on our hands, all to play for. Winner moves on to losers round 2. Loser goes home early at the first opportunity, at the first hurdle. And in the winners semis then, it is Inglorious Surfers taking on Space City PC. We saw them two have an absolutely cracking game earlier on the season. And the other winner semi-final is the South Croydon Saws taking on the Long Island Goomies. These two played in the first game of Season 3. So going to be interesting to see how Silly adapts from that one then. On to then our winners semi-finals though. And it is, our first one is Inglorious Surfers taking on the Space City PC. As I said, last time these two played, it was an absolute spectacle. It was a weather war, as so titled by both players themselves. And it was incredibly close to call. You know, it was a 2-0, but on the face of it, it did not seem like a 2-0. It seemed like a game 3. It was that close. These two, obviously, both very easily one or two or three of the strongest players in the British Pokemon League. And, you know, Aaron's already put one team to sword. He's going to be looking to do the same against Meme's Space City PC. Meme getting a very, very important win over Draco in that round 1 though. And going to look to continue things on and try and stamp his mark on the British Pokemon League. Last time out, I said we saw the weather come into play, so I would very much expect Palippa and Ludicolo to be very, very big here. Is Aaron going to leave the Zacian at home though? You know, we saw it come out last time out, and try and get those Soul Blade attacks off into the likes of the Groudon, but didn't end up working out. He actually went into brought his own rain up and ended up diddling his own Zacian, which is not what you want to see. But as we saw in that game against Dogsy, that Regidrago really, really putting in the work. You know, I think the likes of that and the Hitmontop here could be really big. And Mega Aerodactyl as well, of course, it's going to match up really, really well into the likes of the Togekiss and the Megazard as well. So definitely something to keep an eye on. I think this is potentially where we see these Spiritomb come into play for Meme as well, you know, with that Infiltrator ability. If Aaron is to bring the Zacian, Infiltrator going to hit through that substitute, you know, that Aaron likes to do so much. So definitely something to keep an eye on as well, you know. I think Umbreon, that you know, Meme does like to use to sort of slow things down and stall the game. Probably going to stay at home here. Again, you're not going to enjoy taking a player off from that Zacian if it does come, so I think Meme maybe doesn't risk it here, but for sure, the trio of Megazard, Groudon, and Venu are going to be there, and they're going to come to play. I think the Mienshao, you know, we didn't see it come against the Rookadies, but I think here it works really well. It's going to be the faster fake out user than Hitmontop, and the Ludicolo, and of course Gothorita as well. So, you know, just to try and sort of, you know, get a flinch off somewhere, or even force Aaron into the, you know, protect or double protect, just so he can get something of his own off in that turn. Could be what we see Space City go for. But anyway, guys, into this one then, Surfers versus Space City PC, number 2, the battle of the battle of the weather, and there is said weather is Palippa, Ludicolo, Hitmontop, Rotom, Heat, the Mega Aerodactyl, and the Regidrago. So no Sword Dog again for Aaron, and Meme leading the line with the Mienshao and the Spiritomb. You know, we said the Mienshao might be likely to start things off. And Meme does have the Megazard, Venusaur and Groudon in the back, as well as Dusknoir, as we said in the pre-game as well. So pretty much more or less what we expected here. Again, you know, with the weather war, these two have got to play it carefully now and try and get those switch-ins placed correctly. You know, we did see last time Palippa did run Rain Dance, so even if the switching does come in, you know, you can see the Palippa go off and switch weather. But there's a Poison Jab from the Mienshao, gets some good damage away at the Ludicolo, but Hurricane and Muddy Water are going to get rid of that Mienshao, and there is the Will-O-Wisp onto the Spiritomb, so maybe predicting a switch in there from Aaron, but does get the burn at least on the Palippa, and now in comes the Groudon, gets the Sun up. course, as we said, Aaron does like to run that rain dance on Pelipper, so potentially can go for reverse if Pelipper's going to reverse it last though. Pelipper, quite a slow Pokemon. Groudon switches out, in comes the Venusaur. Ludicolo switches out as well as Pelipper goes to set up the rain. There is the Hex from the Spiritomb, so sees it there's a status effect there and tries to take it out. It doesn't quite work out. A good switch in there from Aaron, and this is more or less what we saw last time round. Lots of switching and pivots as Tailwind comes out from the Mega Aerodactyl. Protect stops that Hurricane from hitting so hard, and Foul Play is going to get rid of that Mega Aerodactyl, so it is now 1 apiece. 3v3 is now in comes the Regidrago though. This is where it could get scary for Meme. Tailwind is up and those Dragon Energies are going to really hurt, and of course he's got to potentially go and try and get the Sun up as Venusaur switches out. In comes the Groudon, gets the Sun up. Dragon Energy comes out. It takes out the Spiritomb. Groudon does manage to tank it, and Hurricane is going to miss thanks to the Sun now being up. It's going to allow his Venusaur to switch back in. There's a 1 advantage for Aaron though now. We've seen how much damage those Dragon Energies can do though. Is the Venu going to be faster under the Sun? Protect comes out from the Regidrago. That's probably the right move. Stops the Sleep Powder from going off. So good stuff from Aaron. And Rain Dance comes out. The Thunder Punch is going to get rid of the Pelipper. So now is a 2v2 then. As the Ludicolo switches back in, and that is not what the Groudon is going to want. We've seen as Rain is going to allow the Swift Swim ability to proc, and that is 1 fast Ludicolo now and 1 slow Venusaur. Comes out from said Venusaur. There is the Giga Drain. Groudon just about hanging on. Dragon Energy comes out though, and that's going to get rid of the Groudon. And now Venusaur with it all to do. 1 turn of Tailwind is now gone though, and now it is all up to the Venusaur. But I think that is going to be it either way in the rain. It just does not love it here. It doesn't like getting wet. It doesn't like getting soggy. It only likes the sun, you know, and who doesn't? Icy Wind going to slow things down, so it doesn't reveal another move on Ludicolo, but the Aaron is going to take the lead in this one, and straight into game 2 we go as goes to the Dusknoir and Spiritomb then. So trying to reverse the speed control this time, seeing that Aaron's going to really want to go for the Tailwind and goes straight for the Trick Room option with Dusknoir, which we saw work so well against the Rookadies. Spiritomb with those Hex and Will-O-Wisp plays as well is something that Aaron's got to watch out for. But that Regidrago though, scary stuff, is really hitting hard in these playoffs and working really well for Aaron. You know, we saw him run it a couple of times during the regular season. There's the Rock Slide. It's going to miss. The Dusknoir does at least get some damage on the Spiritomb, but the Dragon Energy going to get rid of said Spiritomb. Doesn't quite get rid of Dusknoir, but Dusknoir is going to get the Trick Room up, and now Groudon gets the Sun up as well. He's got some speed control on this side. Let's go for a rock slide here and try and get some good damage away to the Mega Aerodactyl. Got to try and take care of that Regidrago though. While is at full health, those Dragon Energies are going to do so much work as Mega Aerodactyl. With that in comes the Ludicolo. There is the Gravity. Goes to the high horsepower on the Ludicolo, and there's even Draco Meteor gets a critical hit, and Groudon just about hanging on with 1% HP. Does drop its own special attack, but that was a great call there from Aaron. Sees an attack maybe coming his way and just goes to the Draco Meteor instead, in case his Dragon Energy gets, his HP gets dropped for his Dragon Energy. And a good call there from Aaron as well, switching into the call. There's the Fake Out, gets rid of the Groudon. Poltergeist, is it going to do enough? No, Ludicolo hangs on, and there's the Dragon Pulse to get rid of the Dusknoir, and all of a sudden it is a 1v4. Venusaur in the sun though can at least maybe try and get 1 kill. Can it get the 1v4? This is a very difficult position for me to be in, and Aaron looks to be just walking into winners finals at this point. Great start here from Aaron, really coming out swinging in these playoffs and looking very difficult to stop with that Regidrago. There is the Icy Wind to drop his speed. Dragon Energy comes out, and that gets rid of the Venusaur, and Aaron takes this one 2-0. A very convincing win there from Aaron T. Marshall and his Surfers. GG's again to both players. That was just astounding to watch. You know, last time around their matchup was so intense and so close. For it to just go completely the other way in that one, you know, really just showed the sort of velocity that Aaron's attacks are sort of coming out and coming at you. You know, it's just such a team of heavy hitters that are very difficult to stop. So yeah, Aaron moves on to the winners final as our first player into winners final. Meme, unfortunately, drops down to the losers bracket. But on our second winners semi-final then, it is the South Croydon Saws taking on the Long Island Goomies. Of course, these two had only played the once before now. Both teams on separate sides of the divisions in Season 2. We've seen Silly get a very convincing win over the Ninjas in that last game. That Mega Lucario finally coming into play and really putting in the work here. And it's going to be more or less a battle of the spread moves. You know, we saw this in the first game of the season. You know, Silly tried to do what he does best with the follow me's and the spread moves, but Crizzle unfortunately has spread moves of his own in the water spouts and expanding forces with that Indeedee Mail once it gets the terrain up. So definitely something that Crizzle's, you know, is going to be keeping in his mind that worked so well last time. And Silly, you know, is going to be in the back of his head going to be like, man, how on earth do I stop that? What do I do to switch things around? I think the Galar Dam here could be quite important. You know, we could see a U10 you know, player coming out, at least bring that Indeedee Mail down with Sash if it's carrying one, and allow him to pivot something into that spot. But as I said, has got to be careful for those spread moves on that side. We could see the likes of the Breloom coming out into this game. You know, Breloom with that technician ability, those seed bombs are going to be doing so much more, or bullet seeds, sorry, I should say, be doing so much more damage than usual, and going to deal more than handedly with that Mega Swampert, and going to deal pretty well with the Kyogre as well. You know, Kyogre's defense is not as strong as its special defenses, so definitely something that Crizzle got to be mindful of as well. I would think this game is going to be where you see the likes of the Talonflame and the Arcanine stay at home. To be honest, not going to want to face down against the water duo of the Kyogre and the Mega Swampert for sure. You know, we've seen Pheromosa as well putting in the work so far for Crizzle, and I think could work really well in this game as well. You know, does have access to that poison jab. While it might not be stab, it's going to get some really big damage off into Xerneas as long as he can stop those follow me's from that Blastoise. You know, we know how good that duo is. We've seen it all season long. You can't let it run rampant, or you know, Silly's going to just comfortably take the game. But anyway, guys, on to this next one, the other winner's semi-final. It is the South Croydon Saws taking on the Long Island Goomies. Goomy, Silly starting off with the Xerneas and the Talonflame. It's got the Breloom, Kamala, the Stone Giant, and the Blastoise in the back. Crizzle kicking things off with the Electabuzz and the Kyogre then. You know, Indeedee Mail is in the back along with the Weezing, Mega Swampert, and the Pheromosa. You know, Weezing could be quite important here just to stop the Fairy Aura and stop things like the Talonflame getting into the Feint comes out, so it's going to break the Gale Wings, and the Water Spout is going to get rid of said Talonflame. Xerneas just about hanging on through that Water Spout and is going to get the Geomancy up, so buffs his special attack, special defense, and speed. You know, does know the Electabuzz has got access to that Feint now. Is the Feint going to be enough to take out the Zen though with 7% HP? Breloom has switched in next to it. Not ideal for Crizzle and his Kyogre, for sure. Got to go for the Feint play just to try and take out the Xerneas. He does it. It takes it down to 2% HP. The Dazzling Gleam is going to take the Kyogre down to half HP. The Bullet Seed gets rid of it though, and then the Electabuzz just about hanging on from that. So it does manage to trade the kill away after losing the Talonflame early on. So now in comes the Mega Swampert, and that is really not what the Breloom, and that's not what the Mega Swampert is going to want to see phasing across from it. The Breloom for sure. You know, Rain is up, which means it's going to get access to that Swift Swim. So presumably going to be faster than that Breloom. So far, probably going to be pretty strong there. It's very, very bulky. You know what that Eviolite is, a very, very bulky boy. It's, you know, why it's so good with that follow me is the Swampert goes, which Mega Protect comes out from Xerneas. Protect comes out from the Mega Swampert. Feint does break Protect. It is going to get rid of the Xerneas with Bullet Seed this time. Silly makes a great call and goes into the Electabuzz and is going to get rid of said Electabuzz. And is now a 2v3. Crizzle with it all to do to bring this one back as Mega Swampert, as we said. It's not really got a lot for that Breloom, and Breloom has a lot for it as the Indeedee Mail comes out now. Does set up the Psychic Terrain and has of course got the Psychic Seed, so you know, again, is running the seed with the special defense buff just to try and deal with that Xerneas, try and lower those attacks, lower how much those special attacks do. That's some good information for Silly. That terrain is going to at least stop the fake out from the Blastoise. The Follow Me comes out instead. There's a liquidation, and Blastoise comfortably tanks that. The Bullet Seed though goes into the Indeedee Male. Is he going to get rid of it? It hits all 3 times, and Indeedee Male goes down. It is now a 3v1 then. And Silly looks to be taking this game 1, playing super well with that Breloom. Looks to be a Scarf Breloom as well with how fast it's going. Follow Me comes out, is going to take that high horsepower again. Comfortably, some really great stuff here from Silly. And there it is, Breloom takes out the Mega Swampert, gets all 4 kills, and Silly takes the lead into this game too. So just an all-action game 1 there. And it is the same leads again then from Silly and Chris going with the Kyogre and Electabuzz. Silly sticking with the Talonflame and the Xerneas. You know, we saw how quickly the Talonflame was dispatched in that game 1, so you'd think maybe a Protector is going to be coming its way this time around, but got to be careful because Feint is of course going to break that Protect, and Water Spout's going to take it out anyway, so maybe Silly's going to look to maybe try and make a switch in here and make a read just to stop that Kyogre from taking the Talonflame out so early doors. Feint does come out, there it is, and Origin Pulse comes his way. Talonflame goes down again, so no protecting. Xerneas does live a bit more comfortably this time and gets the Geomancy off once again. It is almost a rinse and repeat of that game 1 as Breloom switches in. It is almost, I could have just played game 1 with you twice, it basically went the same way. So Breloom switches in. We saw how strong that was in game 1. It took down all 4 of Crystal's mons. Silly making some great reads in that game 1, seeing where those protectors are going to go. Comes out from the Electabuzz, Dazzling Gleam. There it is, Bullet Seed gonna get rid of that Electabuzz, is it? No, it doesn't quite get enough hits. Origin Pulse gonna get rid of that Xerneas, and Breloom manages to tank that, obviously resisting that attack. Is now a 2v4 then for Silly, so this is not as good a position as game 1, but Breloom's still, you know, not in the worst position ever. Kyogre switches out, in comes the Indeedee Male, then sees the fake out might be coming. Protect comes out from that Electabuzz. Fake out, obviously stopped by that terrain, but Silly makes a great read again, goes for that, and the Kyogre slot is going to take out the Indeedee Male, so no Follow Me there, and Indeedee Male goes down, and that is not good. That is not good for Crizzle as he swaps in the Mega Swampert, then trying to get that, you know, trying to be able to move first, but Blastoise can just comfortably go for the Follow Me again. It is pretty much just like game 1. Of course, Electabuzz can go for its own Follow Me. It has lived a little bit longer this time, so you know, Crizzle may be positioned better to try and deal with that Breloom. Protect comes out from that Mega Swampert. Follow Me goes out from the Blastoise. There's the Bullet Seed in the Electabuzz. It's going to take it out. It is now a 2v2, so Silly turns this one around, and Breloom just getting all of the attacks here and getting all the kills. And Kyogre switches in, and this is not a good position for Silly. Not a good position for Crizzle to be in. That Breloom is just taking names. Of course, Follow Me is a little bit fruitless here. Of course, next to that Kyogre can just go for the Origin Pulse. But Breloom moving so fast. There's the Follow Me. Yawn comes out into the Blastoise. Bullet Seed gonna get rid of that Kyogre. Then so it is all up to Mega Swampert. That Blastoise is at least gonna be taking a nap in this next turn. Is said Follow Me. Bullet Seed comes out, and there it is. Silly takes this one 2-0. Great stuff there from Silly. Comes back from 2 mons down to get the win and move on into winners final, where we play Aaron's Inglorious Surfers. So we'll take a quick look at the playoff bracket there. No, we won't, because it's not set up properly. We will go straight on to losers round 1. Instead, it is the Shadow Kings taking on the Swindon Rookadies, though. These two have faced off quite a number of times, you know, since Season 2, since Draco made his debut, and Draco taking all of those games thus far, so has the head-to-head record over Dogsy and his Shadow Kings. And it's going to be up to Dogsy to try and put a stop to that Zacian here. The Zacian, again, matches up really well into a lot of his team, you know, the likes of the Beartic, the Mega Kangaskhan, are going to be weak to its attacks. I think Ditto here could be quite an important one for Dogsy to have in his arsenal. Just try and copy that Zacian, or if Draco goes the Trick Room with that Mimikyu, copy the Melmetal, and if he's able to put something like a Room Service on the Ditto, making that prediction, or just Quick Claw or something, it may benefit Dogsy in this position, just to try and if he's able to copy the threat here, it might bring him back into the game. If speed control doesn't quite go his way. Of course, has his speed control of his own with the Tailwind, with the Illumies, and no real sort of threats to stop that on Draco's side. Of course, if Dogsy does utilize the Indeedee Mail, can go for the Fake Out with the Mr. Mime to try and stop that. So, got to be very, very careful. I think the spread moves again could be quite important. Any spread fire moves. We've seen the Necrozma running that Heat Wave. Once it gets the buff special attack from the Meteor Beam, those Heat Waves are going to become a problem, especially so for that Melmetal. So got to play carefully here. Draco is going to go down that route, and again, the Melmetal is going to be slower than that Camera Up. So Trick Room might not even be the option here for Dogsy as well. Camera Up's going to feel pretty comfortable. Normally, that Melmetal is so slow that unless Dogsy, as we said, runs an item like the Room Service or something to make it that little bit slower and an Iron Ball, it's not really going to see any benefit to the Trick Room going up. So got to play careful here. And this is going to be another meeting of the minds. Dogsy's got a lot to prove here. This is where Dogsy thrived in Season 1, started off in the losers bracket in Season 1 and made that run all the way to losers finals. So that is going to be playing in Draco's mind that Dogsy likes the losers bracket. But Draco, in his own ways, is wanting to go one step further than he did last season. Of course, Season 2 playoffs went out at this stage. So without further ado, let's get into this one. It is this Winter Rookie he's taking on Shadow Kings. And it goes with the Trick Room lead of Mimikyu and Melmetal then, and Dogsy leads the line with the Oranguru and the Necrozma then. So the Greninja, Illumis, Mega Kings, and Camera Up in the back for Dogsy, and it is the Gyarados, Zacian, Tapu Koko, and Mr. Mime in the back for the Rookies. So Dogsy going to have to double focus down that Mimikyu and try and get rid of it early doors, just to stop the Trick Room going up. But doing that, you're leaving yourself open to an attack from Melmetal. That is the scary thing. And Melmetal does get quite a variable move pool. We've seen it with the Darkest Larry. Goes to the Expanding Force, then does a Oranguru, so it's going to at least break the disguise. There's a Flash Cannon, doesn't quite do enough to Mimikyu. There is Darkest Larry, as we mentioned. It's going to put the weakness policy in the Necrozma, and there you go. And Symbiosis is going to give the Necrozma access to the Citrus Berry from the Oranguru. Mimikyu going to get Trick Room up though, so that's going to allow Melmetal to just really be where it thrives. The Shadow Sneak from Mimikyu is going to proc that Citrus Berry at least. Double Iron Bash is going to get the critical hit done. Necrozma goes down. Trick Room gets reversed by that Oranguru, so at least gets speed control back to where he wants it. But that's not a great start there from Dogsy, and Draco makes a great start. Melmetal really putting in the work so far. I said it's such a difficult situation to be in with that Mimikyu. You've got to break that disguise before you do anything, and you've got to have an attack to take it out once you break that said disguise. And Flash Cannon just not quite doing enough. As Greninja now going to switch in. What has Greninja got in its locker then? Of course, this isn't the Mega Greninja, the Ash Greninja, this is just regular old Greninja. So I'm going to have that protein ability, which is going to allow it to change its type into whatever move it uses. Kangaskhan switches in for the Oranguru. There's the Water Shuriken. Going to potentially get rid of that Mimikyu if it lands all of its hits. It doesn't only hit the twice. Gritty there for Dogsy. His Shadow Sneak goes into Kangaskhan and it's going to just comfortably live through that. Double Iron Bash not going to do enough. There's the red card on Greninja, and Melmetal switches out, but one switches in. But the Zacian, not what Dogsy will have wanted to see, especially when his Kangaskhan has just switched into the field. That Zacian presumably going to be running Sacred Sword or some type of fighting attack. So not positionally where Dogsy wants to be here, but Kangaskhan is going to be able to get a fake out off potentially here. It's going to lose its Scrappy once it goes for its Mega, so it can go for the Mimikyu. Fake out does get blocked by that Protect from the Zacian. There's the Water Shuriken. Is it going to take out the Mimikyu? This time it does, so it has at least traded it off. There's now a 3v3. Well, Zacian's in a great position. He is out. In comes the Gyarados, gets the Intim off onto Kangaskhan and Greninja, and is now going to be able to go for the Mega as well. So both Megas on the field. Kangaskhan attack being dropped is really, really huge as well. It's going to really stop its damage output of what it wants to do. You like to see the double edges and things like that from Kangaskhan. And especially with Parental Bond, of course, it's going to get both 2 attacks up for the price of 1. The wise thing to do is a Rangaroo switches in instead. There's the Water Shuriken. Zacian not really doing all that much. Only hits it twice, and there's a Sacred Sword. Gets some really, really big damage on a Rangaroo. And there's the Waterfall into Greninja. Even though it resists, like, some really good damage off the Gyarados. Just so physically sort of bulky. Well, like, hits really hard, what I mean. Greninja only just hanging on through that. Draco looking to have a good advantage here. Gyarados likes to run the likes of Lash Out, which a Rangaroo is not going to take too kindly to. There is the Water Shuriken, just hoping for a crit or something. I think it only hits the twice again. Sacred Sword gonna get rid of that Rangaroo. And there is the crunch into the Greninja to make it a 1v3. Then Mega Kangaskhan with it all to do. 1 Sacred Sword should be enough to get the job done and give the Rookadies the lead in this one. And there it is. Gets the Oko on Mega Kangaskhan. And the Rookadies take the lead. Dogsy with it all to do and try and turn things around. Goes this time with the Greninja and the Mega Kangaskhan this time. And Draco switches it up as well. Goes for the Zacian and Mr. Mime, which we saw works, reasonably well against me in that round 1. The fake out pressure, being super useful on Draco's side and just allowing Zacian to do its thing. I think Mega Kangaskhan going to be that bit faster than Mr. Man, so Draco going to probably look into go for the Protect here just as the Zacian get fake out. The Rangaroo switches in. There is the Protect from the Zacian, stops that fake out from coming off. And Teeter Dance comes out from Draco, so doesn't go for the fake out itself, goes for the Confusion. That could be really huge if he's able to get the RNG goes away and get those Confusion hits off. So really smart stuff there from Draco, playing that one pretty well to get those Confusions. It's really going to just, if he gets those Confusions landed, it's going to really stop what Dogsy wants to do. But I think either way, Zacian's positioned pretty well to deal with either Rangaroo or Kangaskhan here. Switches out as in comes the Mega Gyarados, then going to get the Intim off. Kangaskhan just was out as in comes the Necrozma. Takes that Sacred Sword pretty quickly, so good switch out play there from Dogsy, good pivot. And Rangaroo is going to hit itself though, so does get the Confusion landed. So Draco will be loving to see that. Dogsy's just going to hope that it snaps out the Confusion, as quickly as possible. That's just the way RNG goes. Sometimes it can be within 1 turn, and other times it can last for turn after turn, and you just wonder what you're supposed to do about it. And the simple answer is you can't really do a lot. Gyarados, of course, goes for its Mega. Protect comes out from the Rangaroo, so that's at least going to save it. There's the crunch from the Zacian. Just hanging on, does get the Weakness Policy procced. Gets the Citrus Berry from the Symbiosis, so good stuff there in Rangaroo, ability wise. But Draco wisely goes for that slot. A Rangaroo not taking a hit there through the Protect. Gyarados gets rid of the Necrozma. Now in comes the Mega Kangaskhan again, so Mega Kangaskhan can, of course, go for a fake out here. But Zacian, you would presume, going to just protect through that. You would hope Rangaroo is, really much what we expected. Plus, Double Protect comes out from Draco, then so goes this time into the Mega Gyarados, and Rangaroo hits itself again in the Confusion. Just RNG just not going Dogsy's way in this game. There's the Sacred Sword. It's going to take out the maybe not the switch in you would have wanted to see. Greninja goes down that Sacred Sword. Crunch can get rid of Rangaroo, and quickly this is really unravelled for Dogsy. And it looks like Rookadies are going to take this one, and Dogsy then and his Shadow Kings going to drop out of Season 3 playoffs at the first hurdle. Not what he wanted to see after making such a good run in Season 1's playoffs. But commiserations to Dogsy. He's played such a good season, it started off really well, really dipped in the midpoint by his own admittance, and then just brought it back so well towards the end, was a bit lucky to make playoffs, with alphabetical order. However, that being said, you know, won fair and square in that final match of the season and was in playoffs completely on merit. So, you know, it was really fun to see him in playoffs, and, you know, it's the way the cookie crumbles. You know, I think he tried to bring that second game was supposed to be what was to be there in the game one, and game one was supposed to be in game two. Just didn't quite work. But, you know, full credit to Draco. I think he played really, really well. You know, played to Zacian's strengths. And Mega Gyarados was just such a good bring and just really controlled things. And Melmelt as well in the game one just had the heavy hitters to just be able to take out Dogsy in those games. So, you know, really big props to Draco, and he makes it one set further than he did last season. You know, you've got to just keep on rolling when it comes to playoffs. Just take it match by match and just see where you go from there. So Draco moves on to loses round 2, but on our second loses round 1 match, and it is the big one. It is the derby game between the Ninjas and the Newcastle Thunderers. Last time these two played, it was the 2-1 to the Ninjas, and of course you can see the Ninjas do have the head-to-head record over the Thunderers, but it's playoffs, anything could happen. That all goes out of the window. Form goes out of the window for sure. Before we get into this one, I'm going to take just a little break. I will be back as soon as I can be, guys. Alright guys, we are back, sorry about that. So on to this game then. Last time round we saw the Lunala and the Kangaskhan really putting in the work up against Dave's team. You know, Kangaskhan with that scrappy ability just really dealing with the Mega Banette, and that was the first time we really saw the Mega Banette come into play for Dave and his Thunderous. And you know, the Kangaskhan proved to be such an issue for that Mega Banette, but we also saw some spicy players from the Ninjas last time around. We saw the Polytoad going for that belly drum next to the Togetic with the Follow Me. And while it didn't work in game one, you know, it did prove to be a handful for Dave to deal with. Of course, I think the Incin here is going to be really strong if that Lunala comes. You know, the Incin with those Darkest Larius as well. You know, just if Dave chooses to bring some attacking moves on that Incin, it's going to be able to deal with the likes of that and you know, the Serena and the Kangaskhan on its own right. You know, is got the Lantern in the back as well to be able to deal with the likes of that Raikou and the Finny. You know, not only, you know, is Voltazorb that kind of stop what Raikou wants to do, but Lantern can just sort of go for those electric attacks on the Finny. While Finny may choose to ring the Misty Seed again. You know, we saw that against Goomies earlier on. You know, I think Lantern's it's got some power in it. You know, those Thunderbolts and the Eerie Impulse players as well. You know, which we saw last time these two played. You know, really proved to be a problem for the Ninjas and nearly stalled things out in that game too. So if Dave can play the smart and play around with the stat drops and things, and you know, again, I think Ferrophone could be so huge here. You know, if it wasn't for some crits and a heat wave on Lunara, then that Ferrophone would have really ran rampant in that last game. So definitely one to look out for. This is going to be a very exciting game between these two, as it always is. It is the Ninjas versus Newcastle Thunderers, the derby game. And you see that on the Ninja side, it is the Boltons, the Ryukyu, Kangaskhan, Mini, Mew, and Togetic then. And Dave leads with the Incin, and the Mega Banetta has got the Lele, the Ferrothorn, the Gala, Weezing, and Suicune then. So Ninjas leading with the Ryukyu and the Kangaskhan. So I've got to be careful here, because if Dave has got that Weezing running around the back with that new gas, you know, if the Ninjas go for an attack onto that Mega Banette with the Kangaskhan, of course, that's crappy ability, can you allow it to take an attack? You just see me checking a calc there, you definitely didn't see that. You know, it's not going to take any hits from it. It's going to nullify the ability, and it's not going to take any damage. It's going to be a waste of time for the Ninjas. So Dave can definitely play this very, very smart. As it turned out, the calcs didn't matter, so we'll forget about that even happening. Mega Banette, of course, it can go for its Mega Kangaskhan goes for the fake out into the instant slot, of course, Weezing to switch in. Shadow Ball taken pretty handedly by that Mega Banette, and Mega Banette goes for the Willows, of course. Weezing does stop the Prankster ability on that Mega Banette, but it's still able to go for the Will-O-Wisp all the same, and that's going to really nullify that Kangaskhan's attacking ability now. Weezing, the longer it's around, the more of an annoyance it is. There's the Thunderbolt in the Gala Weezing to get some good damage off there, and it is Life Orb. Ryukyu double edge, not really doing too much to instant. There's the Screech onto the Ryukyu then, so Screech on the Gala Weezing, that could prove to be quite important later on in the game then, you know, getting those defense drops could be big for the late game, just to, you know, get some more damage off as we get further into this. The longer you keep Gala Weezing alive, but did not take that Thunderbolt very well, as Kangaskhan switched out in, because the Finny fake out gonna go into that Ryukyu, of course, with neutralizing gas. That's gonna mean that the inner focus doesn't proc heat wave, does miss the Ryukyu though, so that could be quite huge, and Finny not really taking too much damage from that one. Big chunk of damage from that fake out though, thanks to that Screech. This resulting comes the Ferrothorn, then Thunderbolt is going to get rid of Gala Weezing, which is going to mean all the abilities start proc Misty Surges there, and there is the Misty Seed, and it's Scald into that Ferrothorn, so it's a good switch out from Dave there, just sees the Scald coming. It's going to allow him to sort of rotate back in, but in comes the Mega Banette instead. It's already seen that there's a Shadow Ball on that Ryukyu and Thunderbolt, so now it's a little bit of information about the Ryukyu and what it's running. On the Tabu Finny as well, and the Ninjas know that there's a Will-O-Wisp waiting on that Mega Banette as well. Pretend comes out from the Ryukyu. There's the Destiny Bond from the Mega Banette, and Shadow Ball's going to take out the Mega Banette, but that's going to take Tapu Fini with it. Great call there from Dave, really good stuff, and gets him one down, and it is now a 3v2. Ferrothorn and Incin. Incin gets the Intip off onto the Mew, and it does reveal the white hair on the Mew as well, so great stuff there from Dev. Great move choice on the Destiny Bond. And that could be very, very huge in this game. And that's going to mean one more thing that, you know, that the Ninjas going to get. Fake out takes out the Ryukyu then. The Ryukyu, with that said, like that Screech drop, the fake out, just doing so much damage, it just goes straight down. And Lead Seed comes out with Ferrothorn, and this is not where you want to be in this late game, especially with Kangaskhan being banned, its attacks dropped. And this is getting awfully scary for the Ninjas in this game. One Dave just playing his heart out, and Ferrothorn now with those Leech Seeds. So Ninjas, they've got to be careful that Ferrothorn with that. Those Iron Barbs could be Rocky Helmet as well, which is all the more scary. There's the fake out from Kangaskhan. The Sword Stance goes up from the Mew, and Ferrothorn then goes for the Iron Defense. Lead Seed going to sap some of that health as well as the burn damage, so that Kangaskhan just slowly but surely going down. And that Ferrothorn is now very well set up, but it is physical Mew, but the stronger the Ferrothorn gets, it's just going to nullify those Sword Stance. And the Drill Run comes out, but it misses the Incineroar. Fire Punch comes out with the Kangaskhan, but that's not doing much thanks to that defense move and the burn. Iron Barbs, and it is Rocky Helmet, so Kangaskhan going to go down this next turn. There's the Lead Seed from the Ferrothorn. Kangaskhan down from the Lead Seed damage. And oh no. Great turn there from Dave, though, you've got to say, despite the Drill Run miss, gets the Lead Seed off as well onto the Mew, and that means the Mew's just really in a position now. does go for the CC, gets rid of the Insin then, so, but it is going to take, you know, some considerable damage from this lead seed, and Verfon's going to just set up another iron defense, and this is just making it harder and harder for the Mew to deal with it. You know, the more damage it's taking each turn. And there's another iron defense, 4 times defense, and Mew's just taking more and more hits from these lead seeds. There's a CC that only does 36 damage, and it's going to take some iron barbs and rocky helmet damage as well. There's another iron defense, it can't go any higher. Lead seed going to just take that Furfon up a little bit more health. And Dave's Newcastle Thunderous going to take the lead in this game 1 once again. And Mew going to go down presumably to that rocky helmet damage. There it is. Newcastle Thunderous take the lead. Great game 1 there. That Destiny 1 play on the Mega Minute proving to be so huge. Really great stuff there from Dave. Psychic Scissor is the melee and the Insin this time, and this time Ninjas bring the Bolt Hunt, and the Insin is going to proc that competitive ability. Vinny going to get that terrain swapped around as well, so it gets the special defense boost from the Misty Seed. Of course, terrain being swapped kind of doesn't benefit the Ninjas too much here. It's going to allow the Insin to go for that fake out if it wants to, but it does at least get the terrain buff. Dave's going to try and make the right call here and try and fake out the right one. You would think he'll go for the finish slot just because he doesn't want any skulls going into that Insin. I think we'll be able to comfortably handle a skull from the Finny, but either way it's going to take some big damage with it being super effective. Can't ignore that Bolt Hunt though, with competitive being procced. It's got the 2 times special attack. There's the Thunderbolt. It's going to take the Lele down to its Sash. Substitute going to fail on the Lele as well because it's down to Sash, so wasted time for the Lele, and that's a good start for the Ninjas then. So 1 more down to the Sash, fake out it into the Tapu Finny, which is, you know, I think is fair enough. And Finny now can potentially just start either go for a skull or just start setting up Calm Mind with buffing and special defense and special attack. There's the Hyper Voice that's going to get rid of the Lele then. Calm Mind comes out from the Finny. Parting Shot comes out from the Bolton, but that's a big mistake there from Davis. That's going to proc competitive a bunch of times, and it now has the 3.5 times special attack then. And this Bolton's just getting stronger and stronger as in comes the Ferroform then. What is going to jump into that Lele slot? It's the Insin, so it's now going to give the Bolton max special attack, 4 times special attack. That is not what you want to see if you're Big Dog Dave. That Bolton, it might only be a wee little puppy dog, but my god, when it's got competitive proc, it becomes awfully scary. And of course, Finny also has that Calm Mind up as well. Instead, can't please go for another fake out here. Matt can make the reach, does go for the protect on the Bolton. Fake out goes into that Bolton. There's another Calm Mind going up for the Finny. And Ferfon goes for the Bolton as well. Body press being blocked by that protect. Going all out to try and take care of that Bolton. Meanwhile, the Tapu Finny is just getting stronger. There is a Thunderbolt. It's going to take care of the Insin, then Shadow Ball into the Ferroform. Not really doing all that much. And Lead Seed is going to come the Finny's way as well. So it is now a 2v4 those, and in comes the Mega Bennett then. Dave could get a very big revenge kill here if he goes for the Destiny Bond. To do the work this time, and the Ninjas, they now know it's coming, so got to be very careful when taking out protectors come out from the Mega Net. There's the Thunderbolt in Ferroform, even with it resisting, it does so much damage, and does go try to take out the Mega Net, and Lead Seed does go at least in the bottom, so Ferroform is going to get a bunch of that HP back at the very least, but another Thunderbolt all to do the job. There's the Will-O-Wisp from the Mega Net. Thunderbolt going to take out the Ferroform then. There is a Shadow Ball from the Finny. Doesn't quite take out the Mega Bennett, but Mega Bennett just about hanging on there. but it looks like the Ninjas are going to take this one. It is a 1v4, Mega Net with it all to do in a complete role reversal of game 1. And Bolton just really controlling things here. Another Will-O-Wisp comes out and his way, and Bolton gets his 4th kill of the game, and it is 1 apiece. We move into a game 3. Tournament lives on the line for the Ninjas and the Thunderous then. Mew starts things off with Togetic sat next to it, and it is Galar, Weezing, and the Incin then for Dave. So no Incin going off thanks to Galar, Weezing, his new gas stopping that up from not working. The Ninjas look to be going for that follow me. The Swords Dance play, just try and get Mew set up as early as possible and just try and let it do its thing. Got to be careful though, the Darkest Lariat could be a problem. Fake Out comes out and there's the follow me. So it's going to take that Will-O-Wisp. There you go, Will-O-Wisp. Trying to just nullify that Mew attack as early on as possible because Galar Weezing really doing a good job of those status moves and the new gas. You know, while it's stopping the Incin from getting that Incin off, it's also stopping what the Ninjas might want to do the longer it stays alive. Comes out again, there's his Sword Dance goes up. Screech comes out, and there is the Flare Blitz into the Togetic, and it goes straight down. Grace up there from Dave, seeing he needs to get rid of the Follow Me Mon, and straight off the bat gets rid of Togetic. It is one living a Flare Blitz after the Screech. A great call there from Div, and gets up 1 advantage, so advantage to the US Thunderous. Instant sorts out, in comes the Mega Banette. There's the Fake Out from the Galar, Weezing. Close combat into the Mega Banette. Great call there from Div. Sees the CC potentially coming his way. Switches in the Mega Banette. Great call, great pivot play. Utilizing gas, switching out then, so Mega Banette's going to get the Frisk to see the items. Incin now comes in, drops the attack on the Mute. There's a Mega Banette going for its Mega Banette thing. Will-O-Wisp comes out, it's going to get synchronized, it's going to synchronize that onto the Mega Banette. Shadow Claw, even with a critical hit thanks to the Ben, not really doing enough. Double Edge going to take the Incin down enough to proc his Citrus Berry, so at least some good information there for Matt now. Got to be careful here though, because there is a Destiny Bond on that Mega Banette. And Matt goes for the Fake Out, he makes a big mistake there, trying to go for a Fake Out. Will-O-Wisp goes into the Kangaskhan then, and Fake Out goes into the Mew instead, and that is a really big mistake there on turn number 5. I will admit I'd been reading the wrong part of the chat and thought Kangaskhan had just come out that time. So that was my bad. Gotta be so careful here and end up taking out the wrong one. Could be a huge mistake. Especially if Dave goes for that Destiny Bond like we mentioned earlier. Such a great call for that moveset. And the Will-O-Wisp just proved to be such a problem. There is said Destiny Bond, so Drill Run is not going to try quite take out Incin, but Double Edge is going to take out the Mega Banette, and down goes the Kangaskhan, and it is now a 3v2. Darkest Larry going to take out the Mew, and it is now a 1v3. Tapu Fini with it all to do. In comes the Weezing Galassa, not going to get the terrain, so it's not going to get the boost from the item, and now Fini with it all to do. This one looks to be game, set, and matched here then, unless Finny can potentially get some calm minds going. Scald is going to get rid of the Incin, at least. There is the Will-O-Wisp to the Finny then, so slowly just taking down health, and that Weezing Galar has got that Black Sludge slowly getting health back, and Dave's final one is that Suicune. How big could that double Fake Out end up being there? Game deciding, if you ask me. Maybe last week I'm not going to quite get enough. There's the Snarl, it does miss. The Snarl miss could be huge. There's a Heat Wave from Galar Weezing, just slowly trying to chip away as leftovers is on the Suicune as well. Dave's in a great position here. You can just keep on snarling and just keep getting health back thanks to the Snarl and thanks to the leftovers. Heat Wave hits, Snarl hits this time, and now that Finny is in one hell of a position. This one looks to be game over. The Ninjas then going home with the Shadow Kings at the first hurdle, and Newcastle Thunderous for the first time in the British Pokemon League career advance on in the playoffs. Snarl does miss again. There's a Moonblast into the Suicune? Is it at least going to get one kill to go down with it? Protect comes out there. It's all he can do. Ninjas have got to try and take out the weaker mon first. It's not really going to matter too much. Galahweezing is very, very bulky. And this one is over then. The Thunderous are going to take this one 2-1. It's just a matter of time now before the Finny goes down. Snarl is going to miss again. Moonblast going to hit that Suicune. Suicune's just about hanging on. Heat Wave just doing a bit more chip damage away, as well as the burn damage. And just slowly, turn by turn, just chipping away at this Finny's health. But great games there to Div. A really, really fun set as always. The fake out, double fake out was such a bad mistake. Really, really hate to see that one. That's Cross. When it's a high pressure situation like Cross, these mistakes can happen. To be fair, on merit, Div fully deserved to go through. The Destiny Bond player is so huge. Skull then going to take care of the Finny, and there it is then confirmed. Newcastle Thunderous advance on in Season 3 Pro. So let's take a look at that updated bracket now then. So losers round 2 then. Thunderous advance on it and will play Space City PC in losers round 2. So Space City PC losing out to Inglorious Surfers, dropping down. And South Croydon Saws take on the Swindon Rooketees. Then of course the Rooketees beating the Saws in the final game of the season to confirm their place in playoffs. So that is a very, very huge a very, very huge game right there. And thank you very much, Crizzle, for that comment. I do appreciate it. We will take a look at the winners bracket in just a second. First, we're going to look through these losers round 2 games first of all, and we're going to kick things off with the aforementioned match. It is the South Croydon Saws taking on the Swindon Rooketees. The Saws do have the head-to-head record advantage over Mr. Draco. Last time round, a very, very close game. Went all the way to game number 3. And I expect this one to be a close one as well. Draco with a lot of proof. Now he's got that one win under his belt into playoffs. He's going to want to try and make it fair. And of course, Crizzle, last season's runner-up, is not going to want to go out at this early stage. Interesting enough that he went out at the same stage last season and also went out at the same stage last season to an American. So just a running theme there for Crizzle. Is not going to want to... It's kind of an unwanted record you want to have, I guess, going out at the same point. But, these things happen. He's still in it to win it, as we say. Crizzle definitely going to be, worried about that Zacian and it while charging. With it, Ring Life Orb is going to be all that much stronger. And we saw its destructive power in that last game against the Shadow Kings then as well. Of course... with the setting up the rain does kind of buff up that Melma as well, so got to be careful where that Melma is concerned, because I think an Origin Ball's a water spout with Melmetal's lack of special defense sort of bulk. It's still going to do some big damage, and of course the Mega Swamphead's positioned pretty well with those high horsepowers to get some big damage off. But I think Coco could be really big here. The last time these two played, Coco was the deciding factor and got some big kills off into the Kyogre, obviously running the mixed set on that Coco. So it could be really huge here. I think it's a bit hard to call really what else Draco kind of brings. I think the Drifblim could be a likely bring here. With the Coco, try and get that one bad enough just to give it that speed control. Could either try and go for Tailwind, or could potentially try some status moves onto Crizzle's side, just try and nullify what he wants to do. It does get access to Will-O-Wisp, and I believe it gets Pain Split as well, which could prove to be quite useful for Drifblim. Drifblim's pretty damn bulky. Whether it'll live any water attacks on Kyogre under the rain, who knows? But I would think very much not. But yeah, Draco's sort of, I think, not so much walled in, but has definitely got a specific win con here. Crizzle got a little bit more he can do. I think the Salazzle, again, if positioned correctly, could be a very good bring here against the likes of the Melmetal if Draco does decide to go down that Trick Room route. I think always that Rain route's going to be very, very strong to go with, just to try and outspeed that Zacian and get rid of the Coco. The Swampert Kyogre duo are really good in dealing with that. Swampert deals with the Coco, and while Kyogre can just protect. So yeah, a lot of options on Crizzle's side as well. But this ought to be a very spicy game. as we said earlier, Draco with a lot of proof, he's trying to make that one step further and just keep on running through playoffs. Crizzle trying to make the losers bracket run of dreams once again, like he did in season 2. So tournament life's very much on the line once again. Well, let's get into this one. It is the Swindon Rookies taking on South Korean Soz. Rookies with the Zacian, the Gyarados Melmetals, the Mimikyu, Mr. Mime, and the Coco. And over on Crizzle's side, he leads the line with the Kyogre, and the Whimsicott has got the Salazar Mega Swamp type of Weezing, and the Pheromorse in the back again. Didn't take Weezing into account. Of course, Weezing with that new gas could prove to be very, very useful for things like the Zacian, just to stop it from getting that attack, but just allowing it to allows Chris to sort of nullify what he wants to do. Whimsicott is very good here with that prankster ability. Could go for for its own tailwind, just allow Kyogre to move first. We've got to be careful here about Mr. Mime with its fake out. It's going to allow Zacian to either just go for an attack of its own here, or sort of protect and live to fight another day. Does come out from the Kyogre, then seeing an attack into Wide Guard comes out from the Mr. Mime. There's his switcheroo from the Whimsicott, gives the Iron Ball to the Mr. Mime and gets it a focus slash back for its troubles. Kyogre blocking that wild charge play there, so good stuff there from Crizzle. Just stops the attack coming and gets to move pretty spicy off of that Mr. Mime instead. Gets the sash off it more importantly as well, so can now just go on the attack if he's able to get a tailwind off. And Whimsicott as well now. He's going to be able to just, it's going to live more attacks than it normally would, with that sash play. You wouldn't expect any kind of steel attack from Zacian or anything else. It's probably going to just go straight down, but sash is at least going to allow it to live. A little bit longer. Weezing comes out, then gets the neutralizing gas off. Protect comes out from the Zacian. There's the tailwind from the Whimsicott. The Dance comes out. It is going to get the confusion again, and we've seen in the last 2 matches with Draco. Last match against Dogsy, it worked very much to his advantage. So could we see the same again? This could be what turns the tide of the game for Draco. Tailwind is now opened up for Crizzle, so Crizzle had that speed control. Go potentially for a Will-O-Wisp. That's sort of what I would be expecting here, just to try just nullify what that Zacian wants to do as much as he can. We've got to hope that confusion doesn't land on both sides. We're just deciding what he wants to do here in this turn number 3. Always intense stuff when these two play. Draco's wanted to win over Crizzle for so long, and he finally got it at the end of season 3 there. And as we said, confirmed that split, that place in playoffs. It looks so unlikely right for the season that he wouldn't even make playoffs. The double switch out there though, Salazar comes in, and there is the Mega Gyarados. Lero comes in, the Weezing manages to tank that hit. Does get the Will-O-Wisp off, no confusion landing. And that could be so huge. Black Sludge on that Weezing as well, going to allow it to gain some of that HP back. And Salazar not positioned, brilliantly here while it's under the rain. Especially when the Gyarados is facing the opposite direction. Gyarados goes, but its Mega Protect comes out from the Zacian. Protect out from the Gyarados as well. There is the Sludge Bomb. Weezing does hit itself in that confusion. If Salazar can get a Sludge Bomb off here against Zacian and live an attack, it would be so huge. I think with the tailwind it may just be slightly faster. Not too sure of the cogs. Zacian to switch out as it in comes in Mr. Mime, and Protect comes the way of the Salazar. Confusion ends finally on the Weezing. There's the Will-O-Wisp, but does miss the Gyarados. Waterfall going to get blocked by that Protect, and the rain is now going to end then. Pretty damn huge for that Gyarados as well. I think it still would be strong enough to take out the Salazar, but it's a bit harder to call when there's no rain giving you that boost. so Lashland's not positioned where it wants to be, so we could see a switch out here from Crizzle just to try and make that read. Doesn't switch out, fake out goes into the Weezing. There's a sludge bomb, gets rid of the Mr. Mime. Then is he going to take the hit from the Gyarados? He does not. So Lazo goes down and now a 3v3. And very, very close stuff. While that Weezing is kicking around, it's just it's stopping what that Zacian and other Tapu Koko wants to do when Scott switches back in. There is the Zacian, then doesn't get the attack boost on the sword this time, then, and is now burnt. So its attack is really just really just halved. Essentially, it's really hard for it to do what it likes to do in this position. The dog is running Iron Head, so Whimsicott gonna be careful of that. Of course, Crizzle doesn't know that at this point. There is an Iron Head, and it just does not do very much damage at all thanks to that burn. Does get the flinch thanks to the Iron Head though. Waterfall not getting too much off her weight, and Whimsicott, even Will-O-Wisp comes out from the Weezing, and that's now both of Draco's physical attackers really just hard pressed from those burns. Great stuff there from Crizzle, just trying to slow down what Draco wants to do, just to allow his heavy hitters to come in later on in the game to get the job done. Iron Head again, Whimsicott hanging on for dear life. The flinch does come out again, and Crunch not going to quite do enough here. Whimsicott just loves living. Weezing goes to the Memento, that's going to drop the attack even more. Does finally allow the Intrepid Sword to go off on the Zacian, but it is burnt, and that Gyarados now is really hard pressed. It has the attack and special drop now as in comes the Kyogre, then sets up the rain. And Draco you'd expect to go right on the attack here. He's going to have the speed, but Whimsicott can just go for the tailwind, so got to potentially play it a bit more carefully, but doesn't go straight with that. There's a Water Spout, it's going to get rid of the Zacian. Gyarados does manage to live through that. Power Whip's going to miss on the Kyogre, that miss could be really huge. And now it's all up to Coco and Gyarados, and so Coco does get the electric terrain up. It does look to be running a mixed set once again. Tailwind being up so huge, Kyogre can just comfortably go for another Water Spout here. I think it would be more than enough to at least take out one of them, if not both. There's a helping hand from the Whimsicott, that's definitely going to be enough. There's a helping hand, gets the 2 kills. Kyogre taking all the names, and Draco drops this first game to Crizzle. Crizzle taking the early lead in this one, and Draco now going to try and bounce back, just completely slowed down from the hyper offense play. He's able to get off against Dogsy and the Shadow Kings. Chooses to lead the same way with the Zacian and the Mr. Mime. Crizzle going with the Whimsicott and the Kyogre then. Player's going to come to the Whimsicott here just to stop from the tailwind. The Protect comes out from that Kyogre, then fake out into that Whimsicott indeed. Protect stopping that Wild Charge play from going off, and once again you have a game where it's just a repeat of game 1. Protect, fake out, Wild Charge, all 4 mons still kicking around. So we'll be on the 10, number 2 then. Chris potentially could make a good read here if Mega Swampert is kicking around the back, try and sort of read that Wild Charge play coming in. Go for Swampert, or he may just go straight for the Tailwind Water Spout play, and it dealt with the Zacian more than comfortably last time round. Got to be careful though, because does know that there is a wide guard on that Mr. Mime. That's going to really stop what Kyogre wants to do. does switch out, then she does go for the read. Wide guard comes out, so it stops. That primary switcheroo comes out again, so gets the focus sash again. Wild charge hits in that Mega Swamp. Great up there from Grizzle. Great reads. And sees that the wide guard maybe coming his way. And just stops that from happening. Great up there from Grizzle. Draco's got to be awfully careful. Does he really have anything to take care of? And then this one better as well goes from Mega Protect, comes out from that Zacian. There's the tailwind just to make sure that's one that's going faster. And Liquidation. Grizzle makes the right read, goes to the Mr. Mime and gets rid and gets the Mon advantage zone. So it is 4v3. You would expect, as I said, the Mega Gyarados to come in now just to get that into him off into that Mega Swamp stop. It's, you know, from Wrecking House to its physical attack does indeed bring in that Mega Gyarados. And that at least puts Draco in a little bit of a better position, but that Mega Swamp that's going to be very, very difficult to deal with. There is running the power whip on that Mega Gyarados though, so that may be the route he goes down. Just try and get rid of the Swamp Lead a bit earlier. You just switch in, and such a good call there from Draco. Just keeps the Zacian live. Helping Hand comes out. There's the flip time. It's going to break the disguise on that Mimikyu then, and going to allow what I would expect from either Kyogre or Salazzle to switch in instead. It is the Weezing then, so no Salazzle, it's the Weezing instead. How we're missing again though, so not that it mattered, but Weezing able to switch in, and that's going to neutralize. Well, it would have been nice if it neutralized disguise. I don't think it works that way though. It is going to neutralize that ball break ability. I'm going to stop Zacian from getting that Intrepid Sword off. While the Weezing is still kicking around, and can of course go for those Will-O-Wisp players as well, and Draco just doesn't really have an answer for that. Ted comes out from that Mega Gyarados, and there's the fake tears. Player comes out, it's just not really doing enough. Will-O-Wisp is going to get blocked by that Protect, so definitely the right play there from Draco, I think. Shell Sneak again, not really get much done. There's the fake tears, comes out Sludge Bomb, not going to get enough done, but does get the poison to the Mimikyu. Waterfall gets some good damage with it. That Weezing getting some of that HP back from the Black Sludge as we mentioned earlier. So Draco's not in the worst position over here, as long as he can stop those Will-O-Wisps from coming off. That is sort of got to be the main sort of priority, but really got to be careful where that Mega Gyarados is concerned, because if it's still sticking in with that drop special defense and Kyogre comes in the field, it is more than likely going to go the journey. As now Zacian switches in, Weezing is still kicking around, so still no Intrepid Sword buff. And if Weezing doesn't go down this turn, then it's in a very big trouble. Could see fake tears come out from that Whimsicott Ironhead, not quite getting enough done. There's the Tailwind though from the Whimsicott, and Will-O-Wisp hits off from the Weezing as well. Weezing is going to go down to the Mega Gyarados at least, but now there's a problem, because Mega Gyarados is on very low speed death, and I would think that Kyogre is ready to switch in and just wreck house with those water spells. Rain goes up, the Zacian is burned, so those wild charges just not going to do as much as he wants it to. This is a very difficult position for Draco to be in. Maybe needed to sort of focus down that Weezing that last time just to stop the burn from going off. Hand comes out and the Whimsicott. Is it going to be enough? There's the Water Spout. Gets rid of both the Zacian and the Mega Gyarados, and Grizzle takes the game 2 and the match and advances on to losers round 3, and thus knocking out Draco and his Swindon Rookidee. So commiserations to Draco. Has played so well this season. And I said, like, there was one point during the season where it really looked, quite difficult for him to be able to bounce back from that. He was right in the relegation zone, and it was looking very difficult. But really put a good winning run together, and came back into it and managed to scrape into playoffs, and has put a pretty good playoffs run together. Did pretty handedly against me, beat Dogsy, and then Crizzle just had his number in that one, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. Crizzle moves on to losers round 3, and we'll play the winner of our next match then, which is Space City versus Newcastle Thunderers. Now, these two have only played the once in the history of the British Mountain League, and it was all the way back, if you can roll your heads back, to the start of season number 3. all those weeks ago. And it was very much a bit of a stall fest in game 1, and then Mega Charizard and Groudon kind of just came and came and wrecked house later on. You know, it was a pretty convincing win for me early on, but Dave is absolutely on one in these playoffs, and has been playing his heart out since then. So this ought to be a very, very close game. Dave does have a bit of wide guard coverage in his team with that Pro Bowl pass, so will be probably, I would expect to be bringing that against the likes of the Groudon, just to stop it from you know, from getting those Precipice Blades off. We do know that Mega Banette has access to things like Rain Dance and Sunny Day of its own. Not that it needs a Sunny Day, but it has access to the Prankster Weather, and of course the likes of the Will-O-Wisp. And we just saw it running the Destiny Bond, which I think could be really, really huge here. You know that Groudon likes to run the Shadow Claw, and you know, if you're going to lose the Mega Banette, you might as well take one of Meme's heavy hitters out with it as well. I think Umbreon ought to be very, very strong here. Again, you know, there's not too much on Dave's team that can really deal with that Umbreon too well, and it can just sort of comfortably sit there and either sit and snarl or just moonlight and be a kind of annoyance. So Dave's going to maybe try and get a taunt off onto that thing, just stop it from doing what it wants to do, and keep an eye out on those heavy hitters, because you know, once the Venusaur, once the Groudon or Charizard switches in, it gets very, very scary. And of course the Mienshao here is very, very good too. 4 times weak to fighting his Probopass, and Ferrofauna and Insane. And of course Dialga not going to enjoy taking those close combats, so Dave might try to play with those pivots and switch-ins just to stop him from taking any super effective fighting type attacks, and live to fight another day. Before we get into this one, I'm going to just take another quick wee break. I'll be back in just a second, and then we'll take a look at our second losers round 2 game. Alright guys, let's get right into this one. It is Space City PC versus Newcastle Thunderous. This one is recorded from a replay, so I'll try my best to keep up with it. It will be going quite a fast pace, as Meme does lead with the Umbreon and the Mienshao, and Dave leads with the Mega Banette and the Probopass. The first time he has brought Probopass all season. Meme with the Megazard, Groudon, the Dusknoir and the Venusaur in the back. Dave with the Suicune, Insane, of course Galarian, you can see there now, and the Tapu Lele in the back. So Snarl coming out already from that Umbreon. It's going to really nullify what that Galarian wants to do, as well as the Probopass Strange Steam coming out. That gets some really, really good damage away, but makes a big mistake there with the Toxic in the Misty Terrain. Obviously not going to work, and that already is a huge mistake. That makes a great switch in though with the Mega Banette, as we mentioned earlier. Stops the Mienshao from taking him on there. Snarl does come out, but the Strange Steam's going to miss into that Mienshao, makes the switch into the Probopass, and there's the knockoff into Galarian just to get rid of its Sugar Berry and get some information there for Meme. Foul Play comes out. There is the Sludge Wave, so that's going to at least get rid of the Mienshao, so it does get the Mon advantage early on, but that Galarian is really, really nullified as Wide Guard comes out. It's going to stop that Precipice Blades from coming out, so a great read there from Div. Very, very good reads indeed. And there is Flamethrower in the sun. You know, get some good damage away. Maybe trying to go for those burns as Insane switches in, gets the Intim off onto that Groudon. But Groudon is going to be White Herbs. It's going to return its stats to normal. And there's the Fire Punch into the Insane as pops its balloon. Copycat comes out, and there's another Fire Punch from the Umbreon. So some good information there from Dave, for Dave, finding out what moveset is at least on that Umbreon. Always difficult to work out what exactly it's got there as its 4th move. Fake Out gets blocked by that Protect from the Inson, and there's the Snarl again, gets a critical hit on that Mega Banette. Neither one's going to mind too much having the special attack drops, but you know, either way, by the Rain Dance comes out, Precipice Blades, it's going to get rid of both Insane and the Mega Banette. Snarl obviously going to fail, and now all of a sudden it's a 3v2. Weezing, Galar, and Promo Pass with it all to do. Not exactly the heavy hitters you'd want, as in comes the Venu. Sludge Wave going to come out, get some good damage weight to that Venusaur, and Toxic again, a big mistake there from the Thunderous. Misty Terrain obviously blocking those Toxics, and Meme able to just pivot that Groudon back in to get the weather where he wants it. Snarl going to start dropping that special attacks on the Galar Weezing and the Promo Pass, and it's just not going to be enough for Dave to get those attacks off. Umbreon's just going to comfortably live those now. In comes the Fire Punches, and Moonlight's going to get that Umbreon back up to full HP. Flamethrower at least can do a little bit more thanks to Death Drop after that Earth Power, but not going to be quite enough. This one looks to be very comfortable for Meme. Wide Guard comes out, there's the Fire Punch, the Galar Weezing gets rid of it, so it's all up to Promo Pass. And Promo Pass versus the world. I think there's only one way this is going when it's at the special attack drop like that. And Meme going to take this game early on and go 1-up. So Dave, with it all to do then in this second game, try and bring himself back into this one and keep himself in playoffs. Said loser now goes home in losers round 2. The winner moves on to losers round 3 to play South Croydon Saws. Dave switching these up this time and goes with the Lele and the Mega Minette. Mega Minette switching down as in comes the Galar Weezing. There's the Dazzling Gleam, gets rid of the Mienshao, so no Sasha. Great start there from Dave, and there's the Snarl. It is going to drop the special attack on the Lele and the Weezing Galar. And now Groudon switches back in. And in comes the Suicune. Then there's a Precipice Blade, so it does proc the Sugar Berry on the Galar Weezing. But the special attack drops really just hurting Dave here. Just too much special attacking on his team, and Umbreon's just comfortably able to deal with it. There's a protect from the Galar Weezing. Precipice Blades comes out again, and that's gonna not quite do enough to Suicune. Scald comes out, maybe trying to get the burn on the Groudon. Snarl not gonna quite take out Suicune, but gonna drop that special attack just that little bit further. Just Dave really in a bit of a rut here with this one, just unable to sort of deal with that Umbreon, and I said in pre-game that it was going to be the sort of problem Pokemon here, and now in comes the Lele again, gets the terrain up. Dazzling Gleam comes out. Is it going to get enough? No. The Umbreon is just so tanky. Snarl is going to miss, but it's going to hit that Galar Weezing. Galar Weezing does just about hang on. And gets a Strange Steam off, which does get a Confusion, which could be huge here if he can get a Confusion proc. As Mega Minette switches back in comes the Megazard. Precipice Blade's going to get rid of that Galar Weezing, and Mega Minette takes a big hit for troubles there as there's Megazard going for its Mega, and Minette does the same. Rain Dance comes out, and Energy Ball is going to not quite get rid of the Groudon. There's a Heat Wave in the rain, it's going to be stopped by that, but the Precipice Blade is going to get their job done, and Meme Space City PC are going to take this one, and they advance on to losers round 3, and that is unfortunately the end of the Newcastle Thunderous's playoffs run. What can I say? This has been Dave's best season by far, and it's been really fun to see him make that playoffs run. It would have been nice to see him make it that little bit further, but you know, I think he can be pretty happy with those efforts, and it now sets up a very exciting tie between Space City PC and the South Croydon Saws. So let's take a look at that bracket to see what that means for it then. South Croydon Saws, Space City PC for a chance to move on to the losers finals and guarantee themselves at least 3rd place in playoffs. This is it then, guys. This is where it comes down with these next 3 matches are going to be very huge for the outcome then. So we're going to take a look at the losers round 3 first before we move on to that winners final between Inglorious Surfers and the Long Island Goomies. Again, with this being Meme's first season, they of course only have the 1 match in their head-to-head record to speak of. Crizzle taking that one then in another sort of weather war, you know, like we saw with Meme versus Aaron. The weather setters are just so huge in this one, and whoever can pivot them in and out better than the other tends to be the one that gets the win. You know, that Kyogre is going to be so huge. You know, it does have that low physical defense, just where Groudon can sort of thrive in that manner. Groudon does have access to the Thunder Punch. As long as the sun is up, then Groudon, is a little bit less threatened by the likes of that Kyogre. Does need to be careful though, of course, as we said, that Whimsicott does like to run a special moveset with the likes of the Energy Ball. And that's definitely something to keep an eye on in this one. Whether Meme is going to bring the sort of trio here, I don't know, because of course Venusaur weak to the Psychic types. If Chris does choose to go down the route of leading Indeedee Male, just to stop them fake outs from potentially coming in from Mienshao, He's in a bit of a disadvantage there. That Venusaur not going to enjoy taking those expanding forces, and that expanding force boosted psychic terrain from the Indeedee Male. Going to get some big damage away to some off to the likes of the Groudon and the Mega Charizard. You know, we have seen the Groudon run the Assault Vest from me in the past, so you know, Groudon, if he is running that, might live it a bit more handedly. But you know, either way, it's going to get some big damage off. We may see Meme go down that Trick Room route. You know, if he's expecting the Mega Swampert and Kyogre to come out, you know, let him set up the rain, let him set up the Swampert going fast, and then get Trick Room up and try and work around it that way. There's a few different routes he could run it for sure, but I said, got to be careful not to get caught in that trap from Mienshao if Indeedee Male does come. On the other side of the field, you know, I think regular Weezing could be quite big here for Grizzle. You know, we're not mentioning the start of the last two matches, but could be quite important here. You know, if he outside of the rain and outside of the sun, Kyogre's Water Spouts and Origin Pulses are going to do some really big damage to the likes of that Megazard and the Groudon until that Weezing is dealt with. So definitely something that Meme needs to take into account, of course. The Precipice Blade's going to be quite big here for that Groudon in dealing with the likes of that Weezing and things like that. And as always, got to be careful of that Pheromosa. Never forget about the Pheromosa. That thing is such an annoyance, I think, to everyone, you know, with the Sashin, because it hits so hard. It can be a real sort of menace to deal with if you haven't got two sort of spread moves to sort of, you know, make sure you're getting maximum damage output. But anyway, guys, we're going to get right into this one. It is the South Korean Saws taking on Space City PC and losers round 3. Winner goes on to losers final. Loser goes home at this point, and Meme does lead with the Mienshao and the Rotom Wash then, and Crizzle with the Hydreigon and Whimsicott. Crizzle with the Kyogre, of course, and Mega Swampert in the back for Pheromosa, and Indeedee Male his other ones. Meme with, of course, the Groudon, Charizard and Venusaur, and has Umbreon kicking around in the back as well, quite importantly. So big stuff there from Meme. So no Indeedee Male leading off, so Mienshao kind of free to try and get a fake out off here. Protect comes out from that Whimsicott, and the Hydreigon just covering off the options for the fake out there, and the light screen goes up for the Rotom Wash, so the double Protect just allowing the Rotom Wash to set up screens, and that's really what it's good at doing. It's good at setting up screens, it's good at Electro Webbing, and you know, those Thunderbolts, it's still got pretty good special attack, it's still going to get good damage. Wild Thunderbolts can get those paralysis, so it's always something to keep an eye on. And Rotom Wash has been so good for meeting this season, just like the Umbreon. Those two paired together have been just absolute problem children for the whole league. A lot of people have had a lot of difficulties, you know, dealing with those two. It means we know how to play the stall game pretty well with those two ones in particular. So, you know, good stuff from him. His Tailwind is going to come out from the Whimsicott. There's the Dragon Meteor from the Hydreigon. The light screen really coming in clutch there, and just allowing the Rotom Wash to just tank that hit. And Hydreigon, though, does have the eject pack, so it's going to switch out. Close combat goes into the Mega Swampert that switches in. Thunderbolt, though, switching, hitting that Mega Swampert, and Chris making a great read there. Seeing the double in was coming, and Swampert just stares the Rotom Wash down. He's like, I don't care about your electric attacks. Don't care at all. So again, gotta be like we mentioned already, that Whimsicott has been known to run the Energy Ball, something to keep an eye on here. There is said Energy Ball doesn't quite do it enough to the Rotom Wash, but does drop a special defense, procs the Citrus Berry, so some good information there on Crizzle's side. Reflect goes up now from the Rotom Wash, so that's going to really stop what Mega Swampert wants to do. We've got to be really careful here, because one more CC from that Mienshao is going to be enough to take it out. Crizzle's really got to hope he can get rid of that Rotom Wash and try and, you know, stall out these screens or something, just so he can get the maximum damage output. And he's got to get rid of that Mienshao. Mienshao's causing him a lot of problems at the minute. those CCs, you know, really hitting hard. There's the energy ball, doesn't quite do enough even with the spin death drop. There's the liquidation. It's going to take Mian Chao down with Sash at the very least. A knockoff going to get rid of the item of the Whimsicott. There's a Hydro Pump. Mega Swampert just about hangs on. Hydro Pump actually hitting is more surprising enough, which is crazy. You know, Hydro Pump can miss in the rain. Just to hit a blind Hydro Pump like that is really huge. So good turn there from me. It's a very close game so far. We're on 10 number 5 and still all 4 months stay alive. Venusaur now switching. There's the energy ball. He's going to get rid of that Rotten Wash. And there's the liquidation into that Venusaur. Venusaur just tanking that hit quite comfortably. And Mian Chao now switching back in. Great pivot play there from Meme, allowing Mian Chao to get another opportunity to get a fake out in. Wise up there from Chris, just going for the double check to stop that fake out, you know, take him out. There's the sludge bomb from the Venusaur, and Whimsicott would not have enjoyed taking one of those. Very, very difficult to call here. I think whoever gets the first knock, like the next knockout here, is going to be in, you know, really good stead. This Mian Chao looks more likely to go out, but it's very, very fast, and that Whimsicott's not going to enjoy a sludge bomb from Venusaur, like we mentioned. Whimsy going down would not be good for Grizzle in this situation. Whimsicott does switch out as in comes the Kyo. That's going to allow the Mega Swampert to go first as the in comes the Groudon to reset the weather. So just absolutely meeting the minds. The Energy Ball is going to get rid of that Mega Swampert. And now the weather is in Smeem's favour and it is a 3v3. In comes the Whimsicott then. Whimsicott does not get the rain dance. It's not about a recreate a flash dance or something and start dancing in the rain. This is not the worst position ever for Cousin though. Like I said, the Groudon does run Thunder Punch, which he's got to be careful of, but similarly Kyogre does have access to the Ice Beam. I think that Meme's going to look to try and just double down on the slots out. In comes the Hydreigon, then Hydreigon switches in for the Kyogre and protect, blocks that Sludge Bomb. Meme's got there in the Thunder Punch, so Chris saw that coming and chose not to keep the Kyogre in, which is smart play there. See, the Hydreigon's going to resist that. Now, what's Hydreigon got in its locker? You could see a Draco maybe come out here again, but we do know the Hydreigon can run Heat Wave here. If you can get the Heat Wave to land, it could be really huge. There's the Tailwind out from the Whimsicott. Heat Wave comes out and that gets rid of both the Venusaur and the Mian Chao. What a huge turn for Crizzle. Hydreigon just really putting in the work, and now Groudon with it all to do. Crizzle can just comfortably switch in the Kyogre now at this point then. And he's in a world of trouble. What a switch around in that turn. It looked really, really comfortable there for me. Having the weather fake here is going to come out. There's the Dark Pulse into Groudon. Groudon doesn't manage to tank that, but gets the flinch as well. The flinch from the Dark Pulse being super huge there, and Chris might not even need the Kyogre back in at this point. Energy Ball's going to come out from that Whimsicott. Groudon just about hanging out. Dark Pulse going to get the job done, and Crizzle takes that first game. Very, very difficult to call that one up until a couple of times before the end there. Crizzle with a huge, huge turn with Hydreigon, getting the double Heat Wave hit under the sun and just not going to plan. And this time, Meme choosing to lead with the Venusaur and the Megazard, Crizzle with the Indeedee Male and the Pheromosa. So seeing that the Mian Chao could be an issue, leads out with the Indeedee just to stop those fake outs. Has got the Psychic Seed on it like he had done the last few times. The Pheromosa there since then. And this could be a big time if Charizard tries to go for the Heat Wave. Sleep Powder comes out and it's going to put the Pheromosa asleep. There is the Heat Wave. It's going to take the Pheromosa down with Sash. Gets some good damage with the Indeedee Male and gets the Burn Man. Probably there's the Expanding Force. Is going to get rid of the Venusaur though. And that's a huge 10-1. Crizzle has at least got one mon down. Has got one mon asleep and down to 1% HP, and has got one burned and below half. As now in comes the Mian Chao. This next turn could be super huge here for me. He's got to try and bring himself back into this one and hope that Megazard can get some big hits and do enough to get rid of the Indeedee here. You know, he's not going to enjoy an Expanding Force is Mian Chao. It's going to get absolutely slapped around silly if it, you know, leaves itself open to that. It's got to try and get rid of the Pheromosa as well. But it's Ferrum also wakes up, it gets that 10-1 wake up, the Icy Winds comes out, it's going to drop the speeds of both Zan and Mienshao. How big could that be? The Expanding Force comes out from the Indeedee Mill and gets rid of both. This Indeedee Mill is just wrecking house in this game number 2, and Ferrum also with the 1-10 wake up, and now Groudon with it all to do in the 1v4. That is absolutely insane. Ferrumosa waking up to 1-10, gets the clutch Icy Wind. There's the CC into Groudon, gets some really big damage off. Expanding Force comes out, not quite enough to get rid of the Groudon. Precipice Blades is going to miss the Ferrumosa and get rid of the Indeedee Mill now, but I think it's all a little bit too much too late, and that is going to be how a meme's playoffs run ends. Oh, that's got to be so galling for it to end like that. The 1-10 wake up proving to be so huge in that 10. But Crizzle is going to continue on through this losers bracket and moves to the losers final then. Great games there from both guys. That 10 was just insane. We were watching that live and just losing our minds. It was crazy. The Icy Wind as well, you know, just the move choice there was so clutch from Chris. And you know, borrowing some of that Aaron Jesus power from Aaron. We like it. We like to see it. But no, Meme's been absolutely amazing this debut season. You know, has built such a like a really strong team. That Sun Core with the Megazard, Groudon, and the Venusaur, just with Mienshao working so well. And you know, like we mentioned, the Umbreon and the Rotom Wash were just such a power couple. And must give him a lot of credit to Meme as well. He's done a lot of graphic work for us this season, as you'll see in the playoffs bracket, and has done a lot of graphic work for us next season. So he deserves all the credit and praise in the world for that. He's been an absolutely outstanding player. But GG's and congrats to Crizzle as he moves on to the losers final and has guaranteed himself 3rd place. So let's take a quick look at the bracket then. We have got the winners final first up. It is Inglorious Surfers taking on Long Island Goomies. Who will join Crizzle in that losers final? Who will move on to the grand finals then? Oh yeah, shout out to Dave as well, I guess, for graphics, I suppose. We love you, Dave. Winners final time though then. It is the Inglorious Surfers taking on the Long Island Goomies. These two played each other like a few teams have them last week before playoffs, and it was a very convincing win for the Surfers in that one. You know, Silly try to bring something Mimi with the Feather Dance and the Oricorio, and it didn't quite pull off, but there was a nice idea to try and stop the Zacian, but the Hitmontop, which you know was so big for Aaron through the latter half of the season, just really came in clutch in that one with those triple axles and the fake out play. So you've got to be careful in this one though. You know, if Aaron does choose to lead the Hitmontop, you know we've seen Silly do this quite a few times. If he's leading the Xerneas Blastoise, if he sees a fake out mon facing the opposite way, he will often go for the double protect. Of course, the Hitmontop does have access to Feint, and we've seen how lethal that Feint is when paired with the Zacian. You know, Feint, he's going to just Feint either the Xerneas or the Blastoise. Zacian's then just going to take care of the rest. You know, it's got to be so careful double protecting in front of them two like that. But thus far, we've not seen, speaking of the Sword Dog, we've not seen Aaron using it very much so far. You know, I think he's fallen out of love with the dog. And has found a new pet in the Regidrago. I mean, that, you know, especially that last match against Meme, you know, that Regidrago was absolutely huge. You know, really putting in the work with those Dragon Energies. And definitely something that Silly has got to consider. But I would think in this game, you know, Aaron is going to look at Silly's team there, see the Xerneas, see the threats that Silly's got in his team, you know, like the Galar down with the Icicle Crash and things, and probably the Regidrago at home, to be honest. I would very much expect that. But I think we may see Silly bring the likes of the Mega Lucario here. You know, Mega Lucario with the likes of the Bullet Punch can deal really well with that Mega Aerodactyl if that does choose to come. That could be an option as well. I would, you know, whether he brings the rain, we'll see. You know, the Ludicolo is going to benefit from that rain with its Swift Swim, and you know, going to be able to get some nice attacks into that Blastoise at the very least. Ludicolo is surprisingly bulky. You know, I'm not sure if it would live the Geomancy boosted Xerneas attacks, but you know, it's going to be able to comfortably take care of the likes of the Blastoise and things. So, and you know, Talonflame or Oricorio or something like the Stonejourner. So Ludicolo could definitely be a good shout to bring here. Yeah, I think that's the rain core here is really strong. I think Aaron like last time, is going to have a spicy strat lined up to take out the Zenith. You know, last time we saw Mega Aerodactyl wind its face off to get rid of it. I think something very similar is going to be on its way for Mr. Silly. So without further ado though, let's get in this one. It is the winners final. The winner moves on to the grand finals. Loser joins Mr. South Croydon Source Crizzle in losers final to decide who plays in our grand finals, and it is the Zacian and Hitmontop leading the line for Aaron T. Marshall, and Silly kicking things off with the Galardam and the Blastoise. It is Intimidate Hitmontop this time, so that's going to lower the attack on the Galardam, and that could be really, really huge in itself. You know, Galardam with its ability, and if it's got a choice band, I would think it's going to be Scarf this time, but you know, if it's any kind of choice items are going to be really, really big for this Galardam, and you know, it might allow Zacian to live a Flare Blitz here coming from down, but I would expect to see a Fake Out coming down as well. But there's the Fake Out from the Blastoise, going to stop the Zacian there, and Fake Out comes into the dam as expected, and that is a huge 10-1. There we say, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely nothing happening. Oh, those are my favourite 10-1s. But yeah, more than acceptable 10-1. I think that's good for both sides, really. You know, gets a little bit of chip damage away to that Zacian as well, and all 4 mons still kicking on the field. Wide Guard now comes out there as the follow me. Maybe Aaron maybe expecting the Water Spout. There's the Flare Blitz into the Zacian, gets some big damage and just about enough health. It lives on to get that substitute up, so that could be really, really huge. Big 10 there from Aaron, just about managing to live. You know, you've got to think if that Intim doesn't come off, the Galardam does more than enough to either take out the Zacian or take it down enough to where it can't comfortably substitute. So great stuff there from the Surfers. In comes now the Rotom Heat, sees that there may be a Flare Blitz or a Flare Blitz coming its way. Flare Blitz goes in that protected Zacian. Follow me. Not going to be affected as the Rotom Heat switches in. Rotom Heat is positioned very well here. You know, it has type advantage over both the Galardam and the Blastoise here. We know that Zacian is going to be running a Wild Charge, so Blastoise is not safe in this position. There's the follow me comes out. Flare Blitz is going to get rid of the substitute on the Zacian at least, but it's potentially going to go down. There's the Volt Switch, does proc the backhand berry on the Blastoise. That's some good information there for Aaron. It's going to allow Rotom Heat to switch out and potentially bring in the Hitmontop, and there it is. It's going to drop the attack even further on the Galardam. There's Behemoth Blade into Blastoise. That follow me Blastoise does tank that hit. Zacian positioned very well here. It's a good pivot play there from Aaron as well, bringing the Hitmontop back in to allow it to get the Fake Out Protect. Comes out there from the Blastoise, who's always faking out the Dam Manitan, and that's going to allow the Zacian to go in, but the Zacian goes into the Blastoise slot instead, so that could have been enough to take out the Dam there, but all the same, it's you know, it's 6 and 2 3s, one or the other. Still all 4 mons on the field. Aaron still in a good position. He may choose to switch out the Zacian. And Zacian does go for the Protect though. Follow me comes out. Flare Blitz going to get blocked by that Protect. Close Combat are going to get rid of that Blastoise, and there you go. Aaron gets the Mon advantage. And is that going to allow it? Is that a Jetpack? It is a Jetpack Hitmontop, and that allows Rotom Heat to switch back in. So great item and new choice there from Aaron. And now in comes the Rotom Heat. Xerneas switches in place of the fallen Blastoise then. So Xerneas you would expect to maybe be looking to go for that Geomancy, but it needs to be really careful here while there's actually, but it doesn't. The Hitmontop switches back in. But in the Hitmontop does get banned for his troubles, but comfortably tanks that hit, and there's the trick from the Rotom Heat, and it swaps the choice band on the Xerneas. Now Xerneas now is going to be just stuck going for Geomancy. You know, loses its power herb, so it's going to take another time to go off, and that Xerneas now, all it can do is Geomancy. It can't do anything else as Talonflame switches in, takes that Fake Out from the Hitmontop. Geomancy now does go off. The Volt Switch though is going to get rid of the Talonflame, so great stuff there from Aaron, going to allow him to pivot the Zacian potentially back in again now. Does bring the Pelipper in instead, so it's going to proc the rain, but you know, you might as well forget about the Xerneas. It can't do anything. In comes the Galardam. Galardam at least now can go for a differing attack than the Flare Blitz, but got to be careful to look itself at something, you know, something wrong. It's going to take out the Hitmontop at least. Stockpile comes out from the Pelipper just to sort of rub salt into the wounds of Silly here, just, you know, having the Pelipper set up on him as in comes the Rotom Heat then. Galardam, all it can do is Acid Crash. All the Xerneas can do is Geomancy. There's the Acid Crash into the Pelipper, gets some good damage off. Volt Switch is going to get rid of that Dam and allow the Zacian to come back in, and it's going to be able to just clean up house. A great plays here from Aaron. Great trick play there from the Rotom Heat. I said that he would have the something lined up to take care of that Xerneas, and he most certainly did. And Silly left with a bit of egg on his face there. I mean, not really too much he could do in that position when it comes to the trick play. He just needed to play around it, but you know, Aaron's team was just so strong built around that Zacian, and the Behemoth Blade's going to get the job done, and Aaron takes the lead into this first game then. Move on into game number 2 then. So we saw the destructive power of that Rotom hitting its trick play. So that is going to be in Silly's man, and Silly leading with the Blastoise Zen duo then. Gothorita, of course, does have that fake out. You may see Zacian go straight for might go straight for his substitute. Double Protect is going to come out. There's the Behemoth Blade. It's going to get stopped by that Protect, and Trick Room goes up then for the Gothorita, which doesn't really help the Zacian on this next turn. You know, Silly may even elect now not to go for the G-Man. So his Follow Me comes out. There's the taunt that's going to stop the Blastoise from going for Follow Me, but he does indeed go for the Geomancy then. And there's the Wild Charge. It does put the Rock and Berry. The Blastoise going to get down to half HP, so still getting so much damage done. That Blastoise, despite the Berry. Just to prove the destructive power of Zacian, to be honest, as the Hitmontop switches in to get that into him. There's the Scourge, maybe trying to hope for a burn on the Zacian. Behemoth Blade comes out, and that gets rid of the Zen, and the Zen just comfortably taken care of here. Now in comes the Arcanine then, so Arcanine's going to put that eject pack on the Hitmontop. It's going to allow Hitmontop to pivot back in later on, and does at least get the Intim onto the Zacian, so it lowers its attack a little bit. So good stuff there from Silly, good call. You know, again, we've not really seen him use the Arcanine too much this season, so always nice to see a few months make a return in classes. Hitmontop switch back in. There's the fake out from the Gothorita. Scald into said Gothorita. Is going to at least get the bend, but probably not on the mon that Silly wanted it to be honest. That is the way that the RNG goes, unfortunately. Protect from Arcanine, just trying to block what the Hitmontop wants to do. Ally Switch comes out from the Gothorita. Close combat is going to get some good damage out of Blastoise, and there's another Scald for his troubles. Silly's kind of just sort of going through the motions here, just not able to get any kills on Aaron's mons. The Intim drops on the Arcanine, really just sort of stopping what it wants to do. Blastoise then just trying to keep it. There's the Feint. It's going to take the Blastoise down. Flare Blitz. It's not going to quite get rid of the Gothorita, and Taunt comes out from the Arcanine then, so Blastoise really in a lot of trouble now. Can't go for the Protect. Knows that Feint's running around on the Hitmontop. Silly is at least still in this. Has got a mon down, but presumably has Galar down in the back, which may be enough to take care of things. Flare Blitz goes into the Hitmontop then, taking a bit of recall damage to Arcanine. There's a Scald as well, so doubling in. Some wise move there from Silly, and the CC just doing that little bit more damage. Procs the Citrus Berry on the Arcanine, and Gothorita is slowly having his health chipped away by that burn. You know, after such a heavy chaotic game 1, this game 2 is really just sort of slowed down, but there Arcanine finally does take care of that Gothorita, and close combat is going to take Arcanine down to 3% HP, so just about hanging on now as in comes the Rotom Heat. This could be a big challenge now. In comes the Galar Dam. Galar Dam takes that Volt Switch. It goes down about half HP, so good switch in there from Silly, just preserving the Arcanine to bring it back in against the Zacian. Scald from the Blastoise is going to get rid of that Hitmontop, so now all of a sudden it is a 3v2, and Aaron is a mon down at this point, and you know, has no way really of stopping the Galar Dam apart from protecting. Follow Me comes out. Flare Blitz is going to get blocked by that Protect. There is the Overheat from the Rotom Heat, is going to get rid of the Blastoise. And now Arcanine comes in with the Intim, going to drop the attack on that Zacian. I don't know that it would matter too much with Dan being so sort of weak, but could be quite huge here. Galadam got to go for it, but the double protect lands for the Zacian. How huge could that be? There is the overheat from the Rotom Heat. That's going to get rid of the Galadam. And now Arcanine with it all to do in this 1v2 situation. Aaron going to take this game to and knock the Goomies down to that losers bracket. And Aaron, once again for his second season in a row, is going to move on to the grand finals. So congratulations to the Inglorious Surfers. They are our first finalists, and commiseration to Silly. He is still in it to win it though. Moves on down to that losers final where he will play the Mr. Crizzle, South Croydon Saws. And we're going to get right into that one. We're not going to waste any time, boys and girls. It is the second time these two have played in playoffs. Of course, Silly being the one to knock Crizzle down to losers bracket as well. Crizzle now has a chance for a little bit of spicy revenge. And this is obviously the opportunity to make grand finals. Is Crizzle going to make it to grand finals for his second season in a row? Or is Silly going to make it there for the first time in his British Pokemon League career? Silly beat him quite convincingly in the last game. The Breloom just putting in so much work and getting all 8 kills. I would definitely think that Silly's going to look to bring that Breloom once again. You know, it just proved to be such a menace for Crizzle's team. But, you know, in the same breath, Crizzle is going to be very aware of that. And what Silly's going to want to do is going to have something something ready. Whoops. Hey guys, just responding to the chat there. Yeah, so, yeah, I think Crizzle's going to have something in mind to deal with that. You know, again, something like the Salazzle or the Indeedee Mail for sure. Is at least going to be able to take the Breloom down with Sasha, because last time it was Choice Scarf. But, you know, I would think that Silly's going to expect Crizzle knowing that the Breloom set and try and sort of counteract that. You know, does he bring the Xerneas again? You know, the Xerneas really put in the work last time. You know, it didn't really get too many kills, but it just got such big damage off of it. You know, having those spread moves, and Crizzle doesn't really have too much wide guard to speak of to stop those dazzling gleams hitting off. And if he's not careful, you know, we have seen Silly running Thunder on that Xerneas, and that is going to really hit that Kyogre pretty hard. So got to be mindful of that. Is the Mega Swampert going to stay at home this time? Seeing how ruthlessly it got taken down by that Breloom last time, I would think yes. I think Whimsicott is going to be coming as well, just to try and get that speed control and maybe try and get some fake Tears players off, just to, you know, at least bring the Xerneas back down to neutral, or, you know, if he can get it off early enough, just allow that Kyogre to get those water spouts. We saw how good Electabuzz was in the previous meeting between these two sides as well, and now Silly knows what Feint does. I would think he's going to be more prepared for it. You know, he knows he can't double protect in his face, or he can't protect him. If he leaves the Talonflame, it's going to take a Feint and is of course going to have its Gale Wings broken. Silly does of course have Wide Guard on that Stone Journey, so maybe we see that make its debut here just to try and stop Crizzle from getting those Wide Guard players off. You know, we know that he likes to run the double spread move on that Kyogre and just kind of nullify what it wants to do. But guys, you know the teams, you know the drill. These two have already played each other once. Let's get into it. It is the losers final. This is it, guys. Winner makes it a grand finals and joins Inglorious Surfers there. Loser goes home, but goes home with their head held high in 3rd place. Let's get into this one. It is the Long Island Goonies versus South Croydon Saws. Silly with more or less the same lineup. It's got the Kamala, Galadam, Talonflame, Breloom, Xerneas, and Blastoise. Crizzle with more or less the same lineup as well. Has got the Pheromosa, Salazzle, Kyogre, Indeedee Mail, Electabuzz, and the Whimsicott. There's the Whimsicott we spoke of, and the Salazzle facing off the other direction. So they lead in the line with Talonflame and Galadam. I need to call it Garmanitan. It should just be called Garmanitan. That makes it easier. You know, for boomers like yourself to remember. Whimsicott, I said, I think is going to look to try and get that Tailwind up off early, but goes straight for the Protect. Baker comes out from the Salazzle, then instead of Ice Speed Crash blocked by that Protect. That's a great turn there from Crizzle. Reads, you know, what the Galadam is going to want to do. Breaks the Gale Wings on the Talonflame as well. I'll be honest, I completely forgot Salazzle even got Fake out at that point. So really great stuff there from Crizzle. Great move choice. As the Galadam switches out, in comes the Blastoise, and there goes the Tailwind. So great read there from Silly. Sees that Crizzle's going to try and focus that on. And Red Card switches out the Salazzle now. In comes the Electabuzz then, and Tailwind goes up with his own from the Talonflame. So great item choice there from Silly. We've seen so much Red Card in these playoffs. It's been such a pivotal item choice for a lot of teams. You know, sometimes it's worked, sometimes it really hasn't worked very well at all. So, you know, kudos to Silly, and I said making a great read there to switch in the Blastoise for the Galadam. Protect is going to come in the way of Whimsicott. Fake out though into the Electabuzz, does get the static on the Blastoise though. Protect is going to at least stop that dual wing, give that static paralysis. Could be so huge on the Blastoise, not only to make it slow, but if a paralysis procs, that could really change the game. So good stuff there from Crizzle RNG, really benefiting him again, being blessed by Mr. RNG's. Whimsicott does switch out, in comes the Salazzle again, and the Blastoise is going to switch out. Jewelin Beat comes in, that gets some really good damage to Salazzle, but sees that the Whimsicott's going to take that. Thunderbolt comes out from the Electabuzz, and that's going to get rid of the Talonflames. That's a huge first kill on the side of Crizzle. 110 and Tailwind left on both sides as now in comes Breloom, the Crizzle killer from earlier. Is it going to be running that Scarf set again, or has he switched it up? Going to be very careful here where that Salazzle is concerned. Of course, Tailwind being a facility does help him in this scenario as well. Going to mean that Galadam is scarfed. It's going to be going first. Does come out, that's going to allow the super power to go into Electabuzz. Electabuzz tanks that, and the static procs again for the Damon, and Flamethrower is going to get rid of that Galadam, and straight away it's 4v2. Bullet Seed comes out from the Breloom, and that's going to get rid of the Electabuzz. So follow me gone for Crizzle at least. But it's 3v2, it's a great start here from Crizzle in this game one, in comes the Blastoise, so no Xerneas this game, leaves the Xerneas at home as now Whimsicott switches back in. Position very well. Crizzle now can go from the Tailwind and allow Salazzle to go first. Here is a bit stuck, you know, even if it is sashed, allows it to live another turn. Yes, it might get a revenge kill, but you know, it's more so what Crizzle has got waiting for it. You know, it's a very difficult spot for Silly to be in here with no Zen. Tech does come out from that Whimsicott, fakes out into the right spot though, that's good, and Mach Punch is going to get rid of that Salazzle. Great turn there from Silly, and no paralysis procking as well, proving super huge. It's now a 2v2 as now in comes the Kyogre though. This could be where the game turns on its head. Can Breloom get the kill onto the Kyogre? We saw it get such big damage last time round. If it gets all the bullet seeds, it's going to be super huge for Silly to try and turn this one around. But paralysis procs, so no fake. Follow me comes out. Encore is going to mean that the Breloom is stuck in a Mach Punch. That's a great move choice there from Silly. Water Spout going to get some really big damage away to Blastoise, and Breloom Rain Dish going to allow Blastoise to get some of that HP back. So good ability choice there from Silly, seeing that Crizzle was going to bring the rain. This is still not quite over, but that encore play from Crizzle is super huge. That Whimsicott all season long has been a problem for people, whether it's taking them out with energy balls, whether it's setting up Tailwind, or doing that. Energy ball going to get rid of the Breloom, and that leaves Blastoise with all to do. It takes the Thunder, it goes down, and Crizzle takes the lead in this one, and that's first blood to the South Korean Swords in this losers final then. Advantage South Korean Swords. Indeed, Email starts the line with from Crizzle as well as Salazzle, and that is not what Silly's going to see as he goes for the Xerneas Blastoise lead. And the Indeed Email course has those spread moves, has got the spread death boost from the Psychic Seed. Silly now cannot go for the fake out. He's going to have to go for the follow me, which, you know, it means Silly's going to keep the Sludge Bomb away from the Xerneas, but that expanding force is going to do such big damage to both Blastoise and Xerneas. There is the said follow me Sludge Bomb. Get some good damage away to the boss as it gets poisoned as well. Red card's going to mean the Electable switches in. There is the Geomancy going off for the Xerneas. At least gives Silly a good fighting chance. And Imprison comes out from the Indeedee Mail. That could be so huge. Has that Indeedee Mail got the Dazzling Gleam on it? If it does, then that Xerneas is completely stuck. Is completely walled here. And I would think the Xerneas probably only has Thunder as its other attacking move. And there it is. It's just Thunder. And Electables can just comfortably take that. And now Indeedee Mail can just start expanding force, and Skull just really not going to hurt the Electables. Great stuff there from Crizzle, just really smart plays, and just going to stop the Xerneas from doing what it wants to do. The second match in a row that poor Xerneas. Last time around it got tricked with a choice item, now it's been imprisoned, and you know, how is Silly is going to take care of that Indeedee Mail up front, or you know, certainly the Xerneas is going to just go down. It's going to huge mountain to climb to try and bring this one back now. You would never have seen that coming, you know. Crizzle didn't reveal that in the game one, so there's nothing really he could have done, you know, around doing that. But really great players there from Crizzle, great move choicing. There's the follow me from the Electables again. That's all the Xerneas can do, and just keep clicking Thunder. Expanding Force going to get rid of Blast Eyes. It can't even go for a Protect, because I'm guessing that the Indeedee Mail has got a Protect on there as well. Now in comes the Breloom. Breloom not going to enjoy taking the Expanding Forces here. This is just so tough to watch for City. There's the follow me. Thunder going to take Electables down that little bit more. Bullet Seed is going to at least get rid of the Electables, but there is the Expanding Force. It's going to take the Breloom down with Sash, get some more big damage away from Xerneas. And this could be it then. What's going to switch in? Is it going to be the Salazzle? Is it going to be the Kyogre? It is the Salazzle then. And that is, again, that is not what Silly's going to want to see. You know, Sludge Bomb is going to finish this Xerneas off. Thunder takes the Salazzle right down to 4% HP. Sludge Bomb though gets rid of the Xerneas. Bullet Seed, is it going to be enough to take out the Indeedee? It's not, it only hits the 2 times. Expanding Force is going to get rid of the Breloom, and it is now a 1v3, and this one is over. Crizzle then, we are going to have a repeat of the Season 2 Grand Finals. It is going to be the South Croydon Saws taking on the Inglorious Surfers for a second season in a row. Crizzle and his South Croydon Saws are coming from the losers bracket, and Aaron will be playing from winners. GG's to the Silly and his Long Island Goomies. He's made one hell of a run this season, one hell of a team. Came so close to making it all the way to Grand Finals and having one hell of a very memorable run. But he's played so well this season, and it's been really nice to see. And there is confirmation. Crizzle takes that one and moves on to Grand Finals. Then, as you will see in our playoff bracket, Inglorious Surfers taking on South Croydon Saws. And guys, so that means it is Surfers, South Croydon Saws, Grand Finals, Part 2. We're going to have a look at the team screen, and we're going to invite some very special guests into the Discord call. We're going to get some commentary buddies up in here, in the form of course, Big Dog Dave and Dogsy, our favourite Grand Final commentators. Let's take a look at the teams, and I'll let those guys, start talking away and introduce you to these teams. Hello, Mr. David and Mr. Dogsy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Matthew.
How are you both doing? Are you both well?
Great, thanks. Yourself?
Awesome. Yeah.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. So here we are again, guys. It's the same Grand Final as last season. What do you think, guys? Did any of you predict this? Is this what you expected, or was it like...
I don't think we could have predicted it, but it just goes to show how great of players they both really are, and how phenomenally they've both played this season.
Yeah.
Such a kiss ass.
I am, but they have played really well this season.
They've been phenomenal. Aaron's built such a strong team. It's been so difficult to deal with. If you deal with the Zashi and you've got all these other ones you've got to kind of deal with, and Crizzle and that the Kyogre. I think once he picked up the Mega Swampert, it just sort of advanced him to another level, as well as the Pheromosa.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, it's Rain Team versus Rain Team as well today, isn't it?
Yeah, Rain versus Rain. I definitely think there's going to be some weather wars going on here. I think I see one of them having something up their sleeve in terms of changing the weather around for the better.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I personally feel like the weather war favours Aaron a lot more, so Crizzle's going to really have to mix it up, in my opinion. I don't feel like Rain really plays well for him here today.
Oh, 100%, yeah. the Rain's gonna it's one of Zacian's weaknesses, fire type. Of course, the Rain just sort of helps it in that case and makes it that much more to deal with. I mean, Aaron hasn't brought the Zacian through a lot of playoffs, though. To be honest, he's really started bringing it towards the end there. Do you think?
But Matthew.
Do you think he even brings it?
He has to.
It's the final.
Yeah, it's the grand final. He has to bring it, doesn't he? Right?
Even if he loses, he has to bring it.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see a world where Aaron doesn't bring it just to try and throw Crizzle off, because I know Crizzle will have had prepped something for that Zacian. I think you have to. You've got to respect it. It's the best mon in the format, so you can't just hope that Aaron tries to cheese you and not bring it.
Even if Aaron didn't bring it, play it, I think he has to bring it. I mean, if it goes to second best of 3, then he's really going to need it there.
Well, that's what I mean. I think if it's definitely going to be his team of 6, but I think maybe he won't bring it in that first best of 3 potentially, and see what happens. And then if he does happen to lose and we got that second best of 3, then he's going to bring it out, and we're going to be seeing a very different second best of 3. I believe our first game is ready to go though, boys. The link is up.
Fantastic.
So we're gonna get straight into this screen.
Most importantly of all, we're gonna say you've both had a fantastic season. It's been a pleasure playing with all of you. Good luck. Have fun.
Absolutely.
May the best man win.
Indeed.
Hit that timer.
The Lazzle's there.
Oh yeah, let's have a look at the teams then. So Crizzle has got the Whimsicott, Salazzle, Electabuzz, Kyogre, Mega Swampert, and Hydreigon. Aaron, the Regidrago is there, the Rango is there, as well as Hitmontop, Gothorita, and that Zacian Crown. Of course, the Gothorita gave Crizzle quite a lot of troubles last time they played, so I think Crizzle will definitely have that in his mind. How can he deal with that Gothorita?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think Whimsy gets priority with the sunny day, right?
Yes.
So it could be interesting to see, like you said, some weather wars going on for sure.
Yeah, right. You can always bring Salazzle, Electabuzz, Hydreigon, and just leave
the
2.
Yeah, absolutely. He does like to do that. He likes to sort of leave the Kyogre as late as possible rather than leading with it. Or if he does lead with it, he tends to want to pivot it out.
We've been talking about this. We've been talking about the Kyogre, Salazzle. I mean, we have to respect the Regidrago there. That's quite 100%. A scary Pokemon to see as well.
Yeah, that thing. I don't know. The thing starts Dragon Energy and it gets very.
I don't know what it does to a Swift Swim Mega Swampert with an Ice Punch though.
Well, yeah, that's true. And the thing is, once it goes from full HP, the Dragon Energy kind of is a bit pointless. I mean, it can still Draco Meteor, but it kind of stops it from what it wants to do.
It might even be like a Scarf Hydreigon or something.
Here we go then. It is Whimsicott and Salazzle leading the line, and Aaron
that's a Sun lead.
Aaron has gone with the Palippa and the Gothorita then. Love the nicknames, as always.
It's got to be a Sun lead.
Oh, it's called it Dogsy. The respect.
Oh, who am I?
I don't know. It's just Dogsy.
I've got to be the big dog. Surely.
You got to.
Surely.
It would make sense. It would make sense.
If Dogsy is the mouth toilet.
The mouth toilet.
Whether I'm the mouth toilet or not, what he's seen there is he's saying that I'm an imperative member of his team.
Oh, yeah. Matthew has to be the Ludicolo, right?
Ludicolo!
It has to be. Double Protect.
Wow.
Double Protect. And I think he was expecting the fake out there from the Gothorita and Hypnosis from the Gothorita.
Okay.
So we gotta think that's a accuracy booster, right?
If that's the case, then we can only assume that he didn't, unless he's keeping it for later on. Does he not have fake out with the Salazzle? I mean, he could have gone fake out with some sun. It's interesting to see what will happen now, though.
I expected a sunny day fake out there.
I did as well. That's what.
He's maybe saving the fake out for later on. He just want to real. There is the sunny day.
Flamethrower.
Oh, Hurricane! Hurricane gets the blind Hurricane and gets the Trick Room up as well. That's so huge.
Wow, that is huge. Aaron Jesus. He's living up to the name
Jesus.
Here we go. Say hello to my little friend Regidrago.
Trick Room is up as well, which could be so huge. That's going to really sort of, Crizzle now has to hope that the rain doesn't go up.
We've seen Aaron run rain
dance.
rain
rain
dance
dance
on
on
that
the
that's
Pelipper.
Pelipper. Mm.
I think that's what he's going to
That
hit.
makes the Mega Swampert the fastest thing on the field. It's not going to be what Crizzle wants. But I'm going to guess that the Kyogre is the final month, so he couldn't even risk switching that in.
Chris's side of the field is so fast as well.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Is Aaron even going to need to bring his Zacian into this game, though?
Is he going to need a game 2?
Wins it in game 1. Crizzle just goes home.
Yeah. Throw in the
It's
towel.
the Mega. Hypnosis lands. There's the Scald.
At least the
Wow,
sun's up, I suppose.
That did so much damage in the
Oh, but
sun.
Will-O-Wisp misses. Will-O-Wisp misses from the Salazzle onto the
Are you
Pelipper. That's
really gaining
such
anything
huge.
by burning a Pelipper?
You can't burn Dogsy. Just remember that. You can't burn Dogsy. But still,
Immune to burns.
can we just say 51% in the sun? That Scald did
That's
so much damage.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage. I know Pelipper's a beast, but
I
still.
wonder if it's expert belt.
I mean, I don't.
That Hurricane did do a lot. I know it's just Whimsicott, but still. There's the expanding force. Ugh. Oh, the 110 wake up! There's the ice punch.
That does nothing.
Nothing. No, I
guess it's lefties, eh?
Does leftovers. I thought maybe Crizzle would have had a rock move there, something like a Stone Edge or something, because that would pretty handily deal with the Pelipper.
Well, knowing RNG as this is luck, the Stone Edge would have missed.
Would have missed, yeah.
Bless up.
That 110 wake up is pretty big. Protect comes out from the Mega Swampert. That's going to block that.
Scald did 51%.
Oh, and there goes the Salazzle.
He's stalling the sun out, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's almost like Aaron doesn't
in
even.
Comes the Kyogre. The 110, the Trick Room left. That could be quite
Trick
huge.
Room left.
Mm.
He needs the hypnosis, and he needs it now.
Yeah, the hypnosis is going to be huge, because otherwise the Kyogre's going to just flip this whole game on its head.
Imagine if we never get to see the other nicknames.
Oh man, the scenes. There is a protect from the Kyogre.
Hypnosis
huge.
Burn?
No burns. There's the liquidation that gets rid of the Gothorita. That's big.
We've got a game on our
Crizzle
hands.
is right back into this one now. Ludicolo!
Ludi logo.
Oh, that's
Matt Star VGC.
There it is.
Let me see them in the chat.
That is not good news for that Mega Swampert at all.
This is the strength about Aaron's team. He's got the Swift Swim with the grass type as well.
Yeah, so the thing is, he has to double the Ludicolo now, right? But if that Ludicolo clicks protect,
yeah, it's gonna.
And he gets a free Scald off.
Protect.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
And as you go,
that's so
that's
big. Oh, I guess
That
the
did
crit
nothing.
still did nothing. There's the Tailwind. Oh, that's not good.
Dear me, what a game! It's the finals, baby.
Grand finals, of course. Wouldn't expect anything less.
Aaron's still dominating this in game 1. I mean, there's still plenty more Pokemon to play.
Can we have I think it's time for us to have a clarification on the rules of the final.
What's that?
If the team from the winning side wins the first best of 3,
then that's it.
That's game over.
Yeah, it's game over.
If Crizzle wins the first best of 3, we go to a second best of 3.
Yep.
Indeed.
Yep.
As we see the
confusion. Got the confusion
as well. I think that's going to be. He calls the dog after himself. Absolutely shocking scenes from Aaron T. Marshall.
The Pelipper is down now, finally.
Oh, and it takes itself out.
Oh,
a little bit of BM to finish the first match.
Oh.
Aaron T. Marshall.
Aaron T. Marshall artist, indeed, with the RNG there. However, Crizzle did save a little bit of face by getting it back to 2-2. I mean, taking out 2 of Aaron's mons there when it looked like he may not take out any.
Yeah, he brought it back for a bit there. Like it was close, but that Ludicolo was just always gonna be so huge when that Mega Swampert is kicking around.
Exactly.
What do we do for Crizzle? He needs a long hard think right now.
Yeah, I don't think he'll have ever expected that Pelipper to be such a pain. And it just to control things, and that Hurricane getting the Oko as well is so big.
Exactly. I mean, what a game 1 for Aaron.
See if we can
We're
get
just
the
waiting on game
link.
two
Just waiting on
here.
the game 2 link. Aaron with the 1-0 lead. This
I mean, could it be that Crizzle's decided not to play game 2 here?
it's just thrown it in the bin.
Who would have thought it? Thrown in the towel after 3 hypnosises from a goth eater, however.
Rumors had it he's
Oh.
quit Pokemon altogether. Thrown a paddy and said he's not coming back. Right. Okay.
Here we go. Game
Will we
2
see the
is up.
ancient strategy of switching items mid-match?
Not on your life. I love the ferocity there, Mr. Crizzle. Sensational game 1 indeed.
Good luck. Have fun. Are we
This
about to
is
crown
what
our
we
season
tune
3
in
champion?
for.
Oh,
Aaron decided it was safe to go with the same strategy as before.
Crizzle.
Well, same leads at least. Crizzle decided to mix it up.
He's brought fake out, surely. To
man,
stop that hypnosis.
there's no fake out there. There's just feint on that.
Electabuzz doesn't get fake out.
No.
No, it's got feint, so
Oh.
it could be breaking a wide guard with a feint if that's what he went with.
It can only really follow me, and Goffrey is going to go for a fake out on something here. Oh, I might choose to go for hypnosis on the Kyogre.
And we're yet to see any more nicknames.
I know.
Start making switches.
There is the fake
Yeah.
out into the Electabuzz, though. The
That's
Thunder,
okay,
and that's the... Whoa.
Oh wow, Dogsy goes
Big,
down
big
turn
turn
1.
one. Pull it
I,
back
I've,
down.
I've got to say that hurt me a little. I'm not
How
gonna lie,
much
that
of an
did
issue
hurt me
is
a little.
that when Crizzle has a rain setter?
I mean, not so much, really, but he does also have Whimsicott in the back, potentially. He can
Matt
just switch
Star
things.
is the Ludicolo.
Ludicolo! My neighbour's probably loving life when I keep
It's a real shame that we can't see. Oh, I guess the crit as well.
No,
Accuracy drops
drop
on this.
Oh, an Origin Pulse still lands.
hit.
That's huge. Hypnosis.
Hypnosis.
Oh,
There goes the follow me for this turn at
that
least.
Hypnosis is so big.
It's a real shame we can't see the Ludicolo dancing, I must admit.
I know. Flapping its hands, dancing away from left to right.
Mrs. Smile.
I'm switching sides so I can see the Ludicolo dance
that's a
there. He's going for the
protect.
protect. He's stalling it out
Yeah,
here.
just to
but
stall out that. That's going to do big
Ludicolo-
damage though.
Oh, Electabuzz hangs on. Yep.
We're going to need a big turn here, Chris.
Very big, yeah. 'Cause
I mean, rumors has it that Aaron decided to call the Gotharita Crizzle that way. That even if Crizzle lost, he'd still feel like a winner.
Yeah. Good guy, Aaron T. Marshall. Not the side, but Hydreigon switching in. Oh, and the wake up as well. That's
There goes
huge.
to follow me. Muddy water.
Muddy
Is he going to get
water.
actually dropped and just rub salt in the wounds? He doesn't.
Oh, that's
And it's
big.
immune to the expanding
Decent
force.
read,
That's good.
nonetheless.
Big.
Just one more turn to go
Oh,
for the rain.
oh, I don't like that though. That's scary when you've got a Ludicolo on the other
117.
side.
It depends. I mean, I'm not sure what move that. Could they double up? Not really, because he may be faster than the Ludicolo,
Yeah,
but can he do enough damage? That's the thing.
that Ludicolo, they can run Ice Beam as well, so I'd be very scared if I was that Hydreigon as well. He's got Crizzle pinned in a little bit here, but that's not to say Crizzle's well out of it. If I know Crizzle like I know esteemed Mr. Crizzle.
How are we getting out of this situation as Chris?
I think just
Is it-
stall out the
He
rain.
has to protect. Yeah,
Oh,
there's
he
the
went for
protect. He
that.
has to. He has
Okay.
to pray for an accuracy. No, that's okay. He takes out.
Takes out the
No, that's
Goffrey.
okay.
So advantage.
And now we're outside of rain.
Yep,
Most
We are
importantly,
outside
in
rain.
comes the biggest boy.
the big
He
boy.
decided to name the
Stone Cold
Zacian after
Killer.
himself.
The crowned prince himself.
Zacian crowned. The most polarizing mon in all of Pokemon right now.
I'm calling you a substitute. I'm just kidding. Oh.
I think that could be the play. To be honest, I think sub here. You know, because I could potentially see Kyogre switching back in here, but I don't know. It's
We've got no rain. We've seen Hydreigon with the flamethrower before, the earth power.
He
yeah.
has to get his Ludicolo, but he can't let Zacian just sit there.
No.
He has to flamethrower. And then earthquake or something maybe.
Yeah, I
Thing
think
is
it's
that
He needs something big.
Sashin protects here though, and he just goes all in on it. Ludicolo's free.
Yeah.
Kind of got to get a kill on the Mega Swampert.
This is tough. This is tough. I've seen a really dominant display of Marin, to be honest. He's came out defending his title,
swinging.
and he's came out swinging.
I mean, it could make a bit more sense to try and get rid of the Ludicolo there, especially because he's got Kyoga in the back. Does he fear the rain?
I bless the rains down in Africa.
Has Ludicolo just muddy watered every turn so far?
I think it has, you know. It might be
It has.
might be specs, mightn't it? Oh,
He's brought the rain.
Wait,
I don't know. I don't know how he kills the Ludicolo now.
That's the
Wow,
protect.
okay.
Oh,
That's interesting.
no.
No.
Yeah. That's what I feared was happening. Yeah, that's got to be such. Oh no, because it's energy ball now, so it's not a choice item then, is it?
No.
No.
I'm guessing AV.
Oh, metronome.
Metronome. But yeah, that was a big turn. I'm not sure why he brought in the rain there in that spot. I mean,
maybe he doesn't have a fire move on.
but it doesn't matter.
If he's running Earth Power for Zashin coverage.
Oh, I was maybe expecting the switch in there. There's a sub.
But he gets the sub off anyway. Earth Power breaks it.
Fade. Oh,
Origin
went
Pulse
for it.
comes out.
Oh,
Big damage.
Big damage there.
Big damage. It's a strange energy ball.
Yeah, I think he was expecting the Swampert switch in there.
Yeah, either way, that's still
Yeah,
a
it
lot.
could be Ted. Could be expected.
Still a lot of health left on that Ludicolo, and it's the priority player with the speed at the moment. It's a dangerous looking one right now.
He needs. I mean, this energy ball's coming out, and you don't think he would make the same mistake twice. He's going into that Kyogre slot.
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron can't substitute now on the Zashin, so he's either protecting or going straight on the attack. Oh, protects, yeah.
He's forced to protect Zashin versus Hydreigon.
It hits, and Hydreigon goes down.
And another turn of rain goes by. Out comes Mega Swampert.
Next turn's so big because.
Gentlemen,
are we about to see that?
Aaron's got to final turn.
Are we about to see Aaron crowned TBPL Season 3 champion, second season running? Or can the esteemed Mr. Crizzle turn it around?
So close. I just don't know how he stops that Ludicolo.
Strap yourselves in.
Yeah, strap yourselves in, boys. It's going to be
this could be
ride.
The final turn.
Protect, there it is.
Protect comes out.
Icy wind.
That was a very conservative turn by
That was a really defensive play.
Ice punch.
Wow. Good attack.
Oh, it lives.
That does so little damage.
It lived.
My word.
That's so huge.
Protect comes out.
Double
protect comes out. There goes the rain.
Oh.
He shows him that he's got the win in the bag.
That could have been a chance for.
There's no coming back.
That was actually Crizzle's best chance there. If he'd gone into the Ludicolo spot.
Gets the double.
Oh, the double. Oh.
Does he rate? He rates the double.
The double. No way.
That was a big
goes
turn
down.
for Aaron T. Marshall.
That is going to be it.
Oh, way.
And there
How
it
do
is.
you win?
GG's.
Aaron T. Marshall, your Season 3 British Pokemon League champion.
Back to back, baby.
The champion of champions. He's done it again. What a phenomenal season.
How do you get the win reading a double protect?
Oh.
That's so saucy.
So beautiful. Oh, man. What a season we've had. That was absolutely amazing.
I believe Aaron only lost once this season as well, right?
Yep, to Mr. Matstar VGC.
The man himself.
Yeah, the man himself. But there it is, boys and girls. We've got a little fun screen for you to watch.
Well played.
And there it is, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. We have our champion It is Aaron T. Marshall's Inglorious Surfers, back-to-back British Pokemon League champions. Well deserved from Aaron. You know, he went 10-1 through the regular season. Our regular season champion. Didn't drop a single game through all the playoffs. Just 2-0'd through everyone. And just gave us one hell of a grand finals. I mean, that read in that final 10 to double in was just absolutely sensational. Just sums up the British Pokemon League. You know, that game one, even with all the RNG going off, just sums up this league this season. And what a season it's been. I just want to thank every single one of you who's been here right through all of the shows this season, for being here and supporting me and supporting the league and supporting everyone within it. It's been an absolute blast as always. It's crazy that the British Pokemon League is now a whole 1 year old. We've been doing this for a whole year now, and we're about to obviously move into season number 4. It is about to be our biggest and craziest season yet. We say that after every season, but that's because it's true. We'll have a few more details for that and a little preview video coming up in the next week or so, but we will have 2 divisions, as you know, next season: the British Pokemon League Premier and the British Pokemon League Championship Division, with promotion and relegation between the two. So that is going to be awfully huge. Also, look forward to in the next couple of weeks, we will have our show where we'll take a look at our Season 4 qualifiers. Some very, very exciting and competitive matches in that one. You'll get your first look at the British Pokemon League Season 4 format. But without further ado, just want to give a big thanks to all of our players in the British Pokemon League as well. A big thanks, as always, to the likes of Draco, Aaron, Chris, Dogsy. They're always there to help out with the show, give advice, and just being a part of this. Big thanks to Big Dog Dave and Meme for all the help with graphic work, and just generally just being here and putting a smile on everyone's faces, including mine. And to, of course, everyone else. It's just been an absolute blast, and I'm very, very excited for next season. We will, of course, return on the... Let me just double check this so I'm not getting this wrong. We will be back on February the 7th for the first British Pokemon League show of Season 4. We'll be drafting on January the 29th in just under 2 weeks' time. So we will see you in a couple of weeks. I have been your host, Matt Starr. Goodbye and good night. Mwah.